Folks, guess what week it is? It is the week of the Red River Rivalry. Um, Folks, it's about to get real active today. If you guys don't understand, you got myself, you got Steven from Fanatic Perspective on, Jay Smith from Unfair Sports, waiting on Chris with a K. You know, he always late. That's just how Chris rolls. And we got a special guest too, man. He goes by the name of Blaze Hayes. Go ahead, Blaze, man. Go ahead and show yourself, man. Oh, yes, there he is. We got the moderator today of the panel, my boy Blaze Hayes, Tyler Hayes.
Blaze Hayes in the building.
Blaze Hayes.
Blaze Hayes in the building.
You see him with the mullet.
Blaze Hayes in the building.
You see him with the glasses on like a Big 12 ref because they don't see a damn thing.
Yeah, I'm blind as shit because I ref the Big 12. What's up, guys?
Yo.
Oh, man. Oh, my God. Well, hey, guys. Usually we talk about the previous games of the SEC. The week recap and the week preview for the upcoming week. We ain't doing none of that this week. This week is all about that Red River. I hate saying the rivalry. Red River shootout, man. Look, I'm bringing it back. It's a Red River shootout, man. We talking about that today. It's about to get real official. Official like a referee with a whistle.
I don't have a whistle, but I'm blind. So.
Damn.
Best rivalry game coming up in college football this weekend.
Period.
It's going to be on, man. It is going to be on. I wish Chris would hurry up in Dallas butt in. But look, I'm going to go ahead and start this off, man. All jokes aside, it's the first time Texas and OU have come to the Red River shootout, undefeated since 2011, I think.
Well, yep. That's the year. 11 was the last time.
It's about to get real physical. Oh my. This is for all the marbles. But look here, folks. Whoever wins this game is not safe. Because I do believe these are the two best teams in the Big 12 right now. And they're gonna meet again. This ain't the last time we're gonna meet as Big 12 folks. Oh, we're gonna meet again. So when Texas beats the crap out of OU this weekend on Saturday at 11 o'clock in the morning, we're going to see y'all again in Arlington and snatch your souls again. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do.
Not seeing shit again. Count on that.
And I feel bad because our boy Blaze Hayes here lost a bet, so technically he's supposed to be wearing y'all's ugly colors, and he's got them there waiting for him.
Hold on. Hold the shirt go. Hold on.
Can I say something while our ref is looking for something and not paying attention?
Looking and not finding anything? Yeah.
Right. And before we allow Jay to retort, I do want to say this. Jay, I listened to you on the podcast last night. Great job. I thought you were very very astute as always, and I was very impressed with the OU discussion regarding this game. And I can't wait to counter some of the things that were mentioned last night that I found quite amusing. But okay. I do in all seriousness, especially now that we're all friends here, and this is the first time I'm going through this experience with you. Chris is a different story. We've been through this with Chris. And,
there's no saving him.
Yeah, there's no saving
Chris
him.
is the cousin that you gotta you gotta apologize for all the time, even though you appreciate what he can bring, but you still gotta apologize for him because he's that guy. I love Chris.
It doesn't take a man with sight to see that there's no saving him.
Wow.
No. So I do want to hear what Jay has to say though. I mean, it was he had so many riveting thoughts.
Go ahead,
yesterday.
Jay.
I did.
Enlighten me, Jay. I didn't get to hear it. Enlighten me.
Yeah, so the biggest thing was I just want to say Texas sucks. Hate your guts because it's Hate Texas week. But no, on a serious note, I'll have my video preparing for the game, and I'm gonna be honest, and I'm gonna keep it a buck. It'll be unbiased, and I give props. And before I dive into the meat and potatoes of what I talked about on the podcast, Stephen heard this. My score prediction for the game is 28-24, but I don't know which way. I picked my heart.
Oh no.
I
Say
picked
it with
my
your
heart.
chest. Say it with your chest.
I did. I picked my heart. But honestly, I said it can't go both ways. Because I come into everything with the unbiased. I come with the pensive approach. I'm truly unbiased on it, on purpose.
AJ.
Because I just love the game. But at the same time.
AJ, I'm going to stop you right now. Hey, Steven, when you say 28-24, I don't know who's going to win, that means you don't got no confidence in your school.
Lies on the internet.
You don't got no confidence in your school.
Lies on the internet.
Texas 34-24. I said it with my chest. Texas
34-24. What you say with your chest did? I'm saying this though. Because the only thing that I don't have confidence in is this run game, and we still got questions.
Ooh, and guess what?
That's legit.
Guess what? What's the strength of that Texas defense?
The run.
That hell of a defensive line. You're right.
Yeah, y'all can stop the run all you want. That's the thing about it. We can't run, so we're going to pass it anyway. I'm not concerned. So anyway, back to what Steven was talking about as he wanted to call me out and try to blast me in front of people, in front of public. He's trying to blast me in front of company, knowing that we in mixed company. We got 5 different stream accounts going at once, and Steven over here attacking your boy with some little bitty needles on the side. Like, Jay, you were so articulate. I appreciate the way you spoke. This man was trying to attack me. But no, this is what I said. That Alabama win was good. Very good. Y'all play backup quarterbacks the rest of those games this season.
And y'all played scrubs the rest. Y'all played Cincinnati and scored 20 points. 20 points. He had a 20-piece against Cincinnati.
Cincinnati is arguably the best defensive line in the Big 12.
But you scored a 20-piece against Cincinnati.
I'm telling you now.
You scored a 20-piece.
Arguably the best defensive line in the Big 12. I know. They're not a bad team. They have arguably the best defensive line. Now, at the same time, there's no excuse on it.
Cincinnati.
We should have went ahead and just put full throttle on it, but it looked like we was out there playing with ourselves. We was playing without food. And Steven heard me say it this. This is the problem that I've said about Texas. Y'all do the same thing.
Here we go.
You play with your food. You play with your food against Wyoming. They had a backup quarterback, and it was 10-10 going into the fourth quarter. You were playing with your food. You played with your food against Rice. You was out there. The game was a lot closer than it should have been, but what was y'all doing? Playing with your food. But then he was like, you know what? Let me turn this bad boy on and go. We did the same thing. We did that against Iowa State. We did that against SMU. Technically, we did that against Cincinnati. We was playing with our food, knowing good and well we shouldn't have been playing with our food.
20 points, though. You could play with your food and still put up 35. I mean, I'm just saying. Saying. You could play with your food and still put up 35.
I mean,
we play without
we still have the higher average right now. So I mean,
Arkansas State.
Arkansas State. Guess what we did? Guess what we did?
Look what you did
we
against
destroyed
SMU.
the teams that are on our schedule that we were supposed to destroy.
28-11.
Now, Nick, you got to give me this, though. Go
ahead.
You got to give me this, though. We did play Cincinnati in Cincinnati.
Here we go.
With your mark in the stands. Am I wrong?
What the hell that got to do with it?
Have you not seen the Big 12? We got a Big 12 ref here. Do you not see what they look like?
Yeah.
Hey, they don't. Hey, look.
Hey, what are you trying to say, man?
20 points.
He's going.
What are you trying to say?
He's going with the calls. He's going with the calls in that Cincinnati, or lack thereof, in some cases. But there's a very questionable pass interference call.
I didn't see one missed
in the end
call.
zone.
Oh, here you go. Here you go.
But I didn't see one missed call.
Jay.
Well.
Jay, what invalid points have these two been making? Okay, Nick.
You know what they doing. You ain't talking noise.
Nobody cares about seeing y'all tonight, baby. It's about that boomer soda.
They're trying to question my professionalism.
Look. We got a $5 super chat. Look, shout out to Steven. Love the content, but can't wait till Saturday. Y'all may be underestimating us a bit. We ain't underestimating y'all.
Yes, you are. Because
Olamide,
better than y'all.
Olamide, thank you.
Steven constantly shows his ignorance about OU football. He constantly shows his ignorance about simple things. Ty Hayes, not this, whoever this is on this screen. Ty Hayes
this is
always
Blaze
talks
Hayes.
about our Big 12 referee, but no, excuse me, my friend. Okay, I sound like Stephen A. My friend, Ty Hayes, always talks about the sins of the father right? And he's been going toe to toe with a lot of people going at Sark about, well, you can't blame him for what he inherited. I saw Steven post a tweet that talked about, well, you guys gave up 48 points and 49 points to Sark and this and that, and people were like, dude, what the hell are you talking about? So first off, Alex Grinch, that's enough said right there.
Alex Grinch didn't. Hold on, Alex Grinch wasn't the defensive coordinator last year.
He was the defensive coordinator when the 48 points was scored. So please stop playing.
Hold on, last year
he had his players.
Hold on, Nino.
Oh, he's saying 48, not the 49
Nino.
last year. I'm sorry.
Nino,
not bad.
I want Chris. I want Chris to make his point. I want Chris to make his point uninterrupted. I just want the opportunity to be uninterrupted when I get to cook.
You can be
and I want to say this.
Okay?
I want to say this. I want to say this real quick. Olamide, thank you. He's an OU fan. Appreciate the support, brother. I'll get to you in a little bit. And I have something for you too. Chris, go ahead and talk about what I tweeted since it was ignorant.
It was very ignorant.
I remember that. I got that noted. It was ignorant what I said.
Ignorant simply because, Steven, first off, it's a lot of loser talk on half of it because you're talking about a loss, an epic loss. I don't care. Nick can get on here and talk about transcending quarterbacks or whatever the case may be. He had an OU jersey on, and guess what? We came back and we spanked that ass for y'all. Second off, last year, here we go again with yet another Texas team playing a team that was running a Wildcat and did not have their quarterback. You guys have legitimately faced no one this year. We didn't even know what Milroe was until probably fourth game into the season, simply because now Tommy Rees seems like he has an offensive plan for them.
Hold on.
You're coming on here talking about all this stuff, knowing that we ran the Wildcat last year, didn't have the talent that we had this year. First year in the defense, again, I come back to what my friend Ty Hayes would say. You can't blame Venables or Sark in this case for the sins of the father. You can't do that.
So hold on now. So
can I go? Because he's talking directly.
I'm sorry,
about
Steven.
my
Go
tweet.
ahead, Steven.
Okay, so what I tweeted was, and hopefully I can have the opportunity to be uninterrupted as I allowed Chris to spew whatever he just spewed.
I'm putting myself on
my
mute.
My tweet simply said, what is OU's plan to slow down Sark? I did not talk about win-loss. I did not talk about anything but what is OU's plan to slow down Sark. Now, a lot of people did comprehend what I meant by that. I meant Steve Sarkisian, the play caller, the person that's designing the scheme and running this offense. And all I said is in his first two games in this rivalry, he dropped 48 in 2021 and he dropped 49 last year. That was the tweet. So all that shit you just spewed, you're taking all of that. You got all of that out of that tweet. I did not talk about win-loss. Let me ask you a question, Chris. Is 48 points? If you allowed 48 points, is that bad? Is that good or bad? If you allow 48 points in a game, win or loss, is that good or bad?
You're asking me a question?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's bad with a bad defense with Alex Grinch out there. That's the answer to that question. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yes,
no question.
So with that being said, your excuse was, hey, we have a new coach in 2022. I said, okay, fine. If you guys want to throw 2021 out, sure. Here's why we cannot throw out 2022. Brent Venables was coaching there. And I understand your situation running a Wildcat quarterback. It is not my fault that you're not a serious D1 program and you did not have proper depth in your quarterback room. That is not our problem. That is not our problem that you did not have a QB. Y'all want to talk? It's the irony of hearing OU fans talk about backup quarterbacks.
I would throw it.
The irony to hear OU fans talk about backup quarterbacks when they did not have a backup quarterback last year. It's hilarious. And here's the other thing. What the hell does that have to do with the Texas? What the hell does that have to do with the Texas offense? What does that have to do with Steve Sarkisian calling plays? Your defense was still out there. Danny Stetson was still out there. I understand. Okay, and so if you want to go with the first year excuse, then I get to use that as well in 2021 because that was our first year with Sark running that system. We had Casey Thompson out there throwing for 5 touchdowns.
Okay.
Ooh, Lord, a lot of guys we had out there in 2021, we didn't have.
So ref, no, put the flag up. Put the flag up. His points are very valid. You know why? If we could use a little bit of profanity on here, because he's dealt with shit quarterbacks, so he would know how that goes. First off, you and Nick, all 2021, it was a damn crying story. It was a damn shame seeing 2 grown ass men on their channels crying every time that y'all lost. Ripped off 6 straight. So you should know. But what I'm saying is this right here. Excuse me. Let me do this in my Stephen voice. Brother, my brother in Christ, you got to stop talking in parables on Twitter, baby, and just say directly what you mean, okay? My brother. You can't do that, Stephen. It looked ignorant on your part. And then you got Kieran. Where's Kieran at? Kieran,
what was ignorant? What was ignorant in saying Kieran, that we scored 48 and 49 points in 2021 2022? What was ignorant about that? Flags. It's getting heated in here. I just want Chris to answer the question. What was ignorant about saying we scored 48 and 49 points? To me, that's factual.
Part of it was you know what you were doing.
Let me interrupt.
What is ignorant about that? That's a statement.
Let me interrupt real quick. Thursday night is when the gloves come off, gentlemen. Thursday night, the gloves come off.
That's true.
What's on Thursday?
SEC Connect.
Steven, I'm sorry.
SEC Connect is not built for the gloves coming off. We talked about this.
Guys, we all need
Thursday night.
We did.
And our ref here can't even pull out his flipping flag to help me moderate this. Why do I got to be the voice of reason here? Why? I shouldn't be, ref. Blaze Hayes, you're fired.
I said I was a Big 12 ref. I said I was a Big 12 ref.
You're a Big 12 ref.
What do you want from me? I'm cosplaying as a Big 12 ref. I think I'm doing a great job. I think I'm doing a great job.
I should do your job for you. But anyway,
I'm doing a great job. They drop the ball. I drop.
Okay, technically you are doing a good job, but that's not the point.
Calm down.
I'm a fall back. You know what, y'all? You brothers are right. I'm a fall back. I'm a cool it. This is a family show. Thank you to all of our. We have a diverse aspect of this. No, we both. No, Chris, we good because like he said, tomorrow is that's where we go fisticuffs. Right now we're being civil. I'm a fall back and I'm a mute.
We're gonna talk legitimate,
and I got the.
All right,
we're gonna talk legitimate.
Okay, we're gonna talk. All right,
plus
first
and minuses on both sides.
Let's
go
down
position
right
to
quick.
position.
How about this, Jay? What are the key factors for the OU offense that needs to happen on Saturday for OU to pull off this W?
Okay, so if we're going to go with key factors and the things Oklahoma's going to have to do is, one, they're going to have to get the ball to these receivers in space. They're going to have to find a way to do it. I know PK is going to dial up pressure. I'm not stupid to think that Anthony Hill's not going to be in random spots on there. I don't even want to talk about y'all's defensive line because I don't need to. It's already, it's self-explanatory. They're going to be doing and moving weight like they're supposed to. The key thing for this team, though, is we've got to find a way to get these receivers in space. Our receivers are deadly. And is it Watts is probably not going to be playing, or he got a lower body injury? Yeah, you put him with Nick Anderson, 6'4", 200 and almost 10 pounds. It's pretty fast. It's going to be a challenge. So we've got to make sure that we know where Catalone is because we know he's going to try to take somebody's head off. He's going to require a business decision in which we'll talk about our side as well a little bit later. But we got to get the ball in space. That's going to be the most important thing we can do for this offense to be successful. We get the ball in space, swing passes, cross the middles, an occasional deep ball here and there, which Dylan Gable's been pretty good at so far this year. We've got to get the ball in space.
Okay, hold on, guys. We got a super chat here coming from Freelance Society. He says, OU fans think their defense is better than Alabama's, ? Also, is JT Sanders still a non-factor? I guess that's a question for you, Chris, but we'll talk about that when we come to you. JT Sanders is... he's a non-factor per Chris. And you also said Jonathan Brooks is a non-factor too. And I think he had Xavier Worthy was a bomb on his list too as well. But look, we're going to get into that later on. It is what it is.
We can take fisticuffs, do the fisticuffs tomorrow. We can be violent tomorrow. Be violent tomorrow,
I don't
guys.
even,
Guys,
I don't even
let's
want
all-
no smoke with
let's-
Steven. I want Nick's ass. That's who I want.
What you?
Let's all-
Oh my
What you
God.
want? Bring it.
Guys,
You don't want none of these.
guys,
You don't want
I don't
these.
even want
Let's-
Steven.
You don't
even
want this.
Steven. I want
You
Nick's
don't-
ass. I
you
want
don't
to get on
want
Nick
this.
all night.
Come on. You
Let's
don't
all
want none
take
of this.
let's all take a chill pill and
I
enjoy
will.
a nice
I will
glass
embarrass
of
you, Chris. Don't
Shady
do it
Mile
to yourself.
bourbon, ladies and gentlemen.
You
Shady
better
Mile
woosah.
bourbon to calm
better
the nerves
woosah.
on
I
this.
just let you know.
You better
I will let
woosah.
Seth.
I
I will
will
let
put.
Seth handle Steven. Them
I
two
will.
got
I will
beef.
put your
I
ass in
want
your
Nick's
place. You
ass.
mess with me.
Listen,
You better
ladies and
chill.
gentlemen,
We can't.
let's
We
all
just
sit
fighting,
around
folks.
and enjoy a glass of Shady Mile bourbon and enjoy talking to some football. You know what I mean? We got a lot to cover, and I'm sure the gloves will come off tomorrow. If you need a blind ref tomorrow, I'm not sure what good I am, but I'll be there. But I've pulled out 4 gavels for this evening. I am now ready to go. If I need to throw one, we're here.
I'm gonna move Todd there to the middle. He's gonna be right there in the middle for everybody to see.
Hey, ref, can I make a football point to
Go
what
ahead,
Jay
man. Go ahead.
just said? Is that okay to talk ball? So I completely
okay to talk ball,
I
really.
completely agree with Jay's point in terms of if I'm looking at this from the OU perspective, right? Getting the ball out in space. I think that's the scariest position group, maybe the best position group on your roster. You guys could agree or disagree, is that receiver room. Love what I see there. I love the diversity of weapons, the speed, the raw speed that's there. Very, very scary, married with a very accurate quarterback, short and downfield. So it automatically presents a challenge. Then you throw tempo in there, and now it's a very, very difficult situation to defend. And you know what, with our secondary and some of the concerns that have come up, I think some things have been rather a bit overblown about the Texas secondary to some degree. When you really kind of consider the performance as well as how many different combinations of guys have played in the Texas secondary this year. But that OU wide receiver room is outstanding. And so, yes, that will be an adjustment for us. Here's where the adjustment will come for OU. Texas's front seven is by far the best front seven that you have faced yet so far. And that is going to be a challenge also for Dylan Gabriel, because Dylan Gabriel, quite frankly, has not faced a front seven like this in his college football career. The best group he's probably seen, maybe Florida State in the bowl game. I mean, like being very honest and candid about this. This is also Dylan Gabriel's first, Red River game, right? And so he's going to have to get acclimated to the emotions of the rivalry and adjusting to that. As the trigger man in a veer and shoot offense, you're making all of the decisions. You're counting the box. You decide when to give. You're the RPO guy. You're making every single decision. Texas's speed and physicality with their raw size and strength will present challenges. And that is one of the best ways you can disrupt speed and timing, right, on the outside. So I think that's going to be a very interesting matchup is what I'm saying here, right?
Nope.
To see how those two things kind of, go against each other. And as a football fan, I'm excited to see it play out. That's what I want to add.
Let me rebuttal real quick on that. And you made a great point there. This will be the best front seven that he's seen because Florida State really had a front six when we played against them. They didn't really have the full seven. And at the same time, the one thing I do want to point out about Florida State, as good as they're playing this year right now, they had their entire roster last year. Nobody opted out, which was, I think they were the only bowl team that didn't go to the college football playoff that did not have players opt out before that bowl game, which I'm still trying. How the hell did they get Jared Verse to come back? How? They hold his mama hostage in a freezer somewhere, something. But we'll go back to that some other time. But you're right. That to me is where I'm ready to see the growth of DG. He's seen a lot of football. He hasn't seen a lot of this Texas type, but he's seen a lot of football. Now, piss or get out the pot. This is where we're at when it comes to that for me.
Hey, Jay.
We'll see. But you're right. I'm ready to see it play out.
Hey, Jay, we got a super chat. I'll let you say that. I'm not going to say that.
You
Oh
don't
no,
want to say
you
it?
go ahead,
Boomer!
Nick. Go
There
ahead,
you
Nick.
go. All right. All
Go
right.
ahead,
Well,
Nick.
Boomer!
Come on, Nicholas. Come on.
If I may, this is what's so interesting about this game to me, right? Because I agree completely, Steven. This is the best defensive front OU will have seen. This is a different challenge because Texas's defensive front can get it from both the exterior and the interior, especially with how PK is switching up his blitz packages. It's going to be interesting to see how OU picks it up. I think that's where Biedenbow, you lean on his experience. That's going to be something. But the reverse side of that is Texas hasn't faced a passing attack this year as dangerous as this Oklahoma one, right? Like, if Oklahoma's running attack was here, this would be a super interesting game. But I kind of want to hear y'all talk about that as well, because there are two aspects of this, right? Oklahoma hasn't seen a defensive front like Texas's, but I don't know that Texas has seen an offense like Oklahoma's. And I know if anybody says, well, Alabama, that was Jalen Milroe week 2 of this year. They're still figuring it out. Tommy Reese is their great win because that Bama defense, I think, is one of the best in the nation, and Texas took it to them. And that Bama defense was playing well week 2, and the offense played well too. But I can't say in good faith that the Bama offense is as good as this Oklahoma offense, at least through 5 weeks of this season. So I'm excited to hear y'all talk about that in particular.
Hey, Ty. Yeah, man, I want to step in on this one. My only thing with this is, yes, Oklahoma has a hell of a passing game. The problem I have with Oklahoma is they can't run the ball. And if Texas makes them one-dimensional, it's going to be very interesting to see if they can hold up without actually running the ball. I think they had one game this year where they had a person run for 100 yards, and that was against Tulsa. Oklahoma's running game has not been that good this year. And, it just is what it is. So if Texas can make them one-dimensional, I think Texas has a good shot of pulling out the win in this game.
I'll step in here on this one right here. First off, Ty, Ty, Steven, even Nick, everybody on here has said it. We run a what? What type of offense do we have, Steven? You always like to say it. VNS, what is it?
Beer and shoot.
Yeah. Well, you
Beer and
guys
shoot.
always say that we just need to stay on schedule, right? Ty, you came up with a stat one time. You basically said, hey, look, or not a stat, but just an observation. You said that, hey, when your first downs are not working, when you guys are behind schedule, nobody needs a terrific run game. You want to be solid in the run game. It would be nice if Gavin Sawchuk could be the breakout star that we all think that he can be, that we've been waiting on him to be. But at the same time, you're asking them to make it 3rd and 4, third and 2, different things like that where it's manageable. You're not, even if your run game is not as elite as it's been in the past, you're asking them to stay on schedule, keep us, in really good third down situations, opposed to being in 3rd and longs, 3rd and 12s, different things like that, where it's obvious pass plays, obviously. So I feel like this offense is explosive. The only downfall, really the only big thing that I have is just, I don't necessarily think that it is offense and defense, all the rest of the stuff y'all want to talk about, but it's really going to boil down to PK. What Levy are we going to get? Are we going to get Levy going out here being too creative, too cute with stuff? Are we going to get PK doing the pre-Gary Patterson days? But I will remind you this. I saw that Wyoming running back hit a hole and take it all the way to the house for like a 20, 30-yard run. And I know he can't be that damn fast to be faster than at every level. Your front 7 and then your safeties as well. He ran right past them. So I'm just saying, hey, it could happen. It's the Red River. Why not? Why not bet on OU's running game this week? But again, I'll give you guys. You guys are talented. You guys are good on defense. Ford is playing really good. I'll give him that. Anthony Hill and his select packages that he has played really good. Been impressed with the interior of your defense. I still have some questions about the edges, but at the same time, Nick, you already know. Who was the first one to jump on that Ryan Watts bandwagon whenever he jumped to Texas? Me. I was the first one to tell you, hey, y'all got y'all a good one. He just didn't. They just didn't have a good plan for him up there at Ohio State because they kept switching every 5 minutes with what they wanted to do with him. And you got to give a kid a vote of confidence at some point before you put him out there on the field, right? So that being said, I think we'll be okay.
All right, so super chat here
wanna-
from Mark Vasquez. He said OU's run defense is horrible. Brooks will eat them. So that's the super
They
chat there
are?
today.
It is.
I want to address Ty's question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to address Ty's. Yeah. So the question about the Texas defense, pass defense versus OU's passing attack. Yes, that is accurate. There's no look. We're not here to hide behind certain fallacies. The way some people want to act like OU's strength of schedule isn't weak, and that's why there's question marks. We will admit that hey, we have not seen a passing attack like that in terms of this season. However, we just played against Washington in that bowl game. And that Washington game was very interesting because that's a preview of really what our defense is now. A lot of the guys that were out there in that Washington game, Michael Penix on both sides. And it's very interesting because the Alamo Bowl game, as well as the OU FSU game, all four of those teams are excellent teams now that played a lot of their guys, in those games that are now signature players here in 2023. The reason why I bring up that Washington game is for the simple fact of very similar offenses. Michael Penix also being the lefty downfield thrower, explosive weapons. And if you go back and watch that Washington, even though we lost, we held that Washington attack below average on every single metric. He did not throw for 300 yards. I think he averaged like 6 or 7 yards per attempt. That was with Watts, Terrence Brooks out there. Mm-hmm. We didn't have Jalen Catalon then. So we have seen PK have to defend very, very dynamic passing type schemes. Yeah. That was less than 10 months ago. Okay. So all I'm saying is, yes, while we have not seen that with this 2023 version, I have at least seen PK have to deal with explosive passing attacks, and I don't think anybody's better than what Washington's doing right now.
You could say the same thing for with the way you were talking about your defense earlier. The best front we faced, no, Florida State. Come on, man. They basically brought back their entire defense. Jared Verse is out there. Granted, our run game was chugging along. Ty Hayes can tell you this. My friend Ty Hayes can tell you this. I came on his podcast a couple of times, and I kept saying, that's the blueprint game for us. If our run game is going, that's what we're going to do. You saw Gabriel pick and choose and pick apart that defense whenever he wanted to with Braden Willis and Marvin Mims. But you also saw that run game be very solid as well. But you saw with that talented front that they have and that hard-nosed defense that they have.
So why hasn't the run game popped in these 5 games?
You said what?
Why are you struggling so much to run the football in these first 5 games?
Hold on, guys. Hold on. We got another super chat. Go ahead and get – hey, Jay, I'll let you read that one.
Onikuno, that's pretty funny. Steals the goal at the sideline with the ref distracted. Used as an illegal foreign object by knocking out people.
And we got one more super chat here, too. Hey, man, Matt Miller, thanks for super chat again. He says, OU hasn't even played anyone as good as Wyoming. All right, that's the next one.
Whoa. Whoa.
And I don't know if y'all saw in the chat to Onikuno's thing, I put in ref stays oblivious.
Yep. As we can see, Blaze Hayes, the ref, the Big 12 ref, isn't paying attention at all whatsoever to that one. Nope. So, yeah, we're good on that. But, no, that's funny. Not as good as Wyoming. That's hilarious. I think that's comical. Now, I say Wyoming with their starting quarterback. Hell, yeah. But y'all didn't see their starting quarterback. That dude's only played one game. That's y'all.
They held Peasley out for safety purposes because they knew what would happen if he had played in that game.
It's kind of,
fair, but anyway,
that's the truth.
No, it's the truth.
That's the truth. I'm not even BSing.
We need him to win the conference. They basically set him down so he wouldn't get his ass whooped.
Well, I'm not even discounting that because it's hilarious that he would be dumb enough to say that out in public. But I digress.
But I will say, at least Wyoming is the only opponent. I think between the two schools, they're the only opponent that is not a Power 5 that has won against a Power 5. I don't think anybody that you play to beat a Power 5 opponent.
Boy, stop playing. Are
we seriously counting any of these Big 12 teams?
I don't have flags, man. What do you want
from me? Chris, has Cincinnati beat a Power 5 opponent yet?
That ain't the point. It's the point.
I'm asking the question. Have they beat a Power 5 opponent yet?
Okay.
They did. I'm sorry. They beat Pitt.
Yes, they did. They beat Pitt. In Pitt.
They beat Pitt.
On the road. They beat Pitt on the road.
I'll give them that. They beat Pitt.
I want to hear Jay's answer to the run game question and why you're struggling to run the football against all these teams.
This is legitimate. twofold. One, and BV even said this in a press conference last week. Our number one back, Javonte Barnes, he had toe surgery. He has foot surgery over the summer, and it's not healing like they thought it would. So he's tried to play him, but he ain't looked good when he played, and they've been resting him because of that foot. Sawchuk had a hamstring injury going into fall camp, and y'all know how soft tissue injuries are. They linger. And so if you watch him run, he don't look explosive like he did against Florida State, and we need to get that back. Hopefully by the time we play this game, hopefully he rested up and he's ready this week, and if it is looking better, or at least at 90% instead of 75, then I think we may see some of the run game come back. But that's your two-headed monster right there. We watched him run 100 yards on a Florida State defense that was, arguably a top 20 defense in the country.
Yeah.
We need that to come back. And if we can get at least one of them healthy for this game, I think it's a different story. But I don't think Javonte Barnes is really going to play. I think it's going to take him probably this season to get that foot right.
Yeah.
That's really it. Now he just got backups.
And that's unfortunate.
So Marcus,
he's so good.
So Marcus Magnet to contact major. What's the how do we?
There you go. There's your word. You just said
him?
it for me. Magnet to contact. He everything just goes right to him every time, and he just falls.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't been healthy his entire time here, and I love Marcus Major. He just hasn't been healthy. We've synced it. So we got to see if he can get it back. And Tyree Walker is a bowling ball, but he's not fast. We've watched him bust through holes and run. But at the same time, every time Tyree Walker has run for a run over 20 yards, guess what happened? Holding.
Ooh.
I think it's happened 4 times this year. If anything, you know what I'm interested in seeing? What's the bleep these Blaze Hayes type guys are going to look like in this game?
It's going to be interesting.
Is it going to be a laundromat?
That's going to be interesting.
or either one of us going to
let him play.
Get holding calls?
Nah.
Thank you for the super chat, Mark.
Yeah,
Appreciate
so
you, brother.
Mark
I have no idea. What are you insinuating?
Mark just gave us a $5 super chat, folks. Dylan Gabriel will need to play the game of his life to get the win. Ewers doesn't have to be perfect. OU loses by 2 TDs. I think 2 TDs is a lot. I think it's a lot. So one hold on, Jay. I had one comment up here I want to talk about. The guy was basically saying that OU hits the deep ball. Texas has been, kind of weak in the deep ball this year, which I think is kind of true as well. So I think that's going to be the game. So this is where I think if Texas makes OU one-dimensional, and I don't think OU will be able to beat them over the top, because Texas won't. If Texas's defensive line can contain that OU run game, then it allows us to drop back our linebackers in coverage a little bit more, allows us to play a little bit more soft, and I think we have an opportunity for you guys not to beat us deep. So I think that is the shot for Oklahoma to win this game. They got to get the deep ball moving. They got to get it moving. If that happens, they got a great shot. My only problem with OU and the deep ball is Dylan Gabriel's arm is like a spaghetti noodle. It's not strong. It just is what it is. Even that throw to BT, so Thompson he was wide open. He was behind the defense by about 5 yards. Gabriel throws the ball. Thompson literally had to stop, come back to the ball 5 yards back, catch the ball, right in front of 2 folks. If he leads them, that's a touchdown. He's still running right now. If Gabriel,
he probably
is.
It's
not
You're
necessarily
right.
a noodle arm. What it is, and what you can see.
He threw it too late.
He's going through his progressions, and he saw that way too late. And he's
I'll say this:
number of times.
I'll say this on Chris's. One of the other things is that this is our first time seeing Brennan play. Remember, he ain't been healthy, so that ankle's been bothering him. We didn't know that he was just going to dust the dudes like that. And honestly, that's Chris said. He went through the progression. He should have immediately just threw it.
He runs a 10-2.
No, you're right. But he also
runs
off an ankle injury. 10-2 and an ankle injury, that don't mean that you're going to run a 10-2 at that time. Yeah, that dropped you to a 10-5.
Let me make this real quick comment about Brennan Thompson. In all seriousness, the moment he fully commits to football, or if he ever decides to fully commit to football,
it's gonna be a problem.
He's going to be a hell of a football player for you. I mean that sincerely. But right now, with that whole, I just don't believe with what he's doing and the way he's training his body with track and then jumping back and forth. There's a reason why he keeps getting hurt. And you can see it with the way he runs, and you can see it with the way he falls. Yeah. I'm just telling you right now, if he ever really focuses 100%, watch out. But we got to. I would like to see him move over to football full time. If that's what his end game is. Now, if he just wants to enjoy college and he doesn't have future plans beyond that. And I don't want to take away what kids love, but I mean that from, Texas OU aside. I'm just saying what's best for the kid. I think if Brennan wants a long-term future, he needs to focus on football and train his body as
He's
such.
an eighth stringer.
Yeah. Hey, so Steven Houston just said if Texas doesn't hit multiple deep balls, I think he meant to say if OU doesn't hit multiple deep balls, they will get blown out. They can't run the ball, and Gabriel is inconsistent. So yeah, I'm pretty sure he meant to say OU. So Steven's one of you guys.
My
too,
question
right?
is can y'all hit on the deep ball? Hell, because you already know if Worthy dropped one, he gonna drop another one.
Worthy had hey. I want to talk about injuries so far this year. The man's playing with a broken hand last year. He's caught plenty of deep balls this year for touchdowns, and in some pretty big environments in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So
environments with an S, but
I don't think that's a problem. I think we're gonna be fine. Yeah. And we got Adonai Mitchell too. You see, this is where I think the game is very interesting. Last year, losing Nayer hurt us a lot. We didn't have the depth, just like you guys had the depth at quarterback position last year, which I think is crazy for a team not to have two quarterbacks. We didn't have the depth at wide receiver. So when Nayer left, and got hurt, it was the X show. It was the X-Men show. And we had him everywhere. We had him playing boundary, had him playing field, we had him playing slot, and we were asking him to do things that he shouldn't be doing. We needed that boundary guy. We had Casey Kane doing his thing, but Casey Kane is a good player. But we're seeing exactly what a great player in that position and Adonai Mitchell, what that does for this offense. And now we're seeing the best. Man, Worthy had a quiet 93-yard game last week. I didn't even realize he had 93 yards by the end of the game. He had a quiet 93 because Adonai Mitchell had about 115 yards. It was a very quiet 93 yards.
But
so
Nick, this is what I've been saying to you, and I've said it plenty of times about Texas. Y'all outside of Bama, okay? And
outside of Bama.
And I say
that's a very big outside.
Now, please finish my point, Nick. Please. Tomorrow, trust me.
Outside of Bama.
Nick, trust me. Tomorrow, I'm gonna hold your head while I whip your ass with that belt.
You don't want none of this.
Tonight, let's be civil.
Outside of Bama.
I'm gonna say this since Blaze Hayes, not my friend Ty Hayes, is on here. Caleb Downs is talented, and I see the strides that he's making. But second game of the season, Caleb Downs was trash. Okay, biting and looking all the time in the backfield, biting on a simple RPO.
Shout out to Sarkisian
but
for that.
I'll chill out on that. Y'all tell Ty that I'll still love him whenever he pops back on here. Okay. Second on.
No, that's a fair point, but I think that
give Sark
also
I haven't finished my point. Y'all been facing a lot of teams that have been running a lot of zone. Last week, Kansas was running a lot of zone, and y'all ate them up, and rightfully so. Y'all did what y'all needed to do. Y'all took what y'all needed. Y'all been facing a lot of zone, baby boy. At some point, somebody gonna have to play man. Somebody gonna have to say, you know what? I got big nuts just like you.
And Worthy gonna blow right by him.
I don't know.
He's gonna blow right by him. Hold on, guys. Super chat.
Go ahead.
Hold on, folks. I got two super chats. Mark Vasquez says, "Okay, Gabriel, not Gabriel. Sorry, okay, OUE." And then here's another one. Josh Vacco says, "Y'all put some respect, Wyoming. They beat Tech and App State, who nearly beat NC. They are 4-1. My concern is our DB depth if Watts doesn't play." And I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that last statement. What's up?
Well, yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that
the last statement.
But the Wyoming piece, it was their backup quarterback. He hasn't played all season besides against y'all. And like you said, they didn't want their starter to play because they didn't want to risk injury. They didn't want to risk
because they knew what was going to happen. They knew what was going to happen.
Well,
they knew what was going to happen. They was going to go 10-10 in the fourth quarter.
I want to hear what Blaze Hayes has to say.
Go ahead, Blaze.
Go ahead, Blaze Hayes. Talk to us about Caleb Downs, and we're going to move on to the rest of the game.
Well, look, Chris is 100% right. I talked about that Stark put Caleb Downs in an impossible position, but and I see Stephen G say Caleb Downs isn't like Bowen. Let Sark test Bowen. Sark will test Bowen, right? Bowen is a great player. He's young, right? And Jay says it all the time. Caleb Downs is being asked to play true strong safety as a true freshman, and he got tested as but Steve Sarkisian, he'll test anybody. I'm not saying Peyton Bowen won't be up to the task. Peyton Bowen is an incredible player. I think this is my big question, right? And now I have a question for Jay and Chris, because Chris, I think you're completely keyed in. on what Sark did and how he found success. My question now is this. Harrington has season-ending surgery, correct?
Yeah.
Who's going to be playing that Cheetah position? Because that's where Steve Sarkisian is going to be looking. Mm-hmm. And as much as I like McCullough's great in stopping the run. But you already know Steve Sarkisian will put Worthy in motion and get Jonte Cook or Xavier Worthy manned up against Dasan McCullough, and it'll be go. And like I said, I love Dasan McCullough, but he's a young player. What's that Cheetah position going to look like?
Before we get to that, we got a super chat. Somebody dropped a whopper on us, right?
Did they?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Jesus.
I'm going through all this. Whoa.
I'll read it. Hey,
Boomer.
Appreciate it. It's my guy. Appreciate you, John. Texas will struggle in the red zone, and Burt only being at 64% kicker will be a problem. Can't wait to see all the signs on Saturday's game day, especially this one. Everything is bigger in Texas except their trophy case. Boomer.
Hey,
And by the way, I'm going to be there if you decide in your heart to make a sign for game day that says subscribe to Unfair Sports. I will bless you with something if I find you. I'm just going to put that out there right now. But
before I pass this to y'all to answer, I will say this. I do think Oklahoma's defense is going to shock a lot of people in this game in a good way. I think that they're going to show up and be much more stout than a lot of people are thinking. I'm just curious hearing from y'all on that Cheetah position and what y'all think will be attacked there, right?
I think there's a chance. Obviously, McCullough, and I think McCullough's still learning in position. Obviously, you've seen in the Cincinnati game a couple of woes or whatnot, but there's been times in space, Ty, where he's played incredible. But there's been times where obviously you can tell he's still learning the position. But I think you can stick Peyton Bowen there. We've seen Bowen at that Cheetah position for a few weeks or whatnot. I think that it fits him at least right now, and it gives him a chance to be that Army Swiss knife that we want. I think at times you could possibly get away with putting Pearson there. Now Pearson would be the one that I would be mostly worried about because I know Pearson want to hit, but the coverage skills.
Like Catalone.
Yeah. Jay, I'll let you go ahead and jump on that one too.
Yeah, but that was kind of the thing I was going to say about, like, we talked about Catalone before and how much of a hitter he likes to be. The problem is that he has a tendency of getting hurt because he hits hard. Reggie Pearson's the same dude for us. And we watched what Reggie did against y'all when he played for Tech. Big games is when he shows up. And he's really ready and jazzed up for this game because when he was at Tech last year, playing against you all. But to answer your question, Ty, the thing about McCullough is that what makes him really tough, like, you can test him, but the issue is that he's 6'5", and he almost has like a 7-foot wingspan. So unless you're making him chase somebody, which I don't think that we will do that defensively, we would play it smart enough to have at least a bracket if we see Worthy go in motion in preparation for it. He's going to be really hard to throw over. Like, he's broken up some passes in coverage just because he's got dude's limbs. And he's putting on weight to where he's like 250 now. It's nice size at 6'5". He's bigger version of Justin Harrington. He's just not used to playing the role yet. It's basically his first year playing Cheetah. And that role is a very important and requires a lot of work. You know what I'm saying? So because of that, he's growing from that. Now that he's playing more, hopefully it clicks in this game. I'm going to be honest. If there's anything I am concerned about, is what Sark draws up to go at him as well as Kanik. Because Kanik is fast. I think he ran a 10-4
makes fast
100.
mistakes.
Yeah. He's fast, but he goes the wrong way fast sometimes.
Yep.
So we need to make sure that he's going to the right spots and he has his moments he'll go back and forth. So I'm excited about it.
No, I love that answer. I was just genuinely curious. I hated to hear Harrington was out for this season.
Dog, that broke my heart.
Defense
still pissed me off. I tell Jay every pod that we do, I'm like, just tell me that he's coming back.
Thanks, Mark.
I know, right? Lie to me.
Now, here's another thing we need to talk about, guys. We need to talk about the trenches for both sides because we already got a comment from somebody stating that the Oklahoma rush defense wasn't very good. Right?
And y'all hear that? Is Ty Hayes back or is this Blaze still?
No, this
We
is
got the
Blaze.
mod back.
This is
Go back. Go
Blaze.
do your thing, man. Go do your thing. I'm sorry to
This
mess
is
up your
Blaze.
thought.
This is Blaze. I gotta moderate, right? I gotta moderate. But I'm interested because this is one of the biggest games all year. So I want to hear about how Texas. Steven, Nick, how do y'all feel about Jonathan Brooks' emergence? Because that might be the single most important emergence on y'all's offense, in my opinion, is Jonathan Brooks, his ability to shoulder that load. I think it gives the offense direction. And then Jay, Chris, how do y'all feel about what you've seen about the defensive front? Because you know Steve Sarkisian, he likes to run it a lot. He's going to try and run it to get those safeties down so that he can test you over top. We know what he does. Talk to me about how y'all feel like your defensive front's going to try and hinder that, whichever order y'all want to go.
Yeah, go Nick and
I'll
Steven.
I'll go first.
All right, go ahead.
I'll go first on the Jonathan Brooks front. Third leading rusher in the country. He's been just fantastic the last few weeks, really. And it's, to me, with Jonathan Brooks, going back to the Alabama game, that 7-minute drive to finish the game in the fourth quarter. To me, if you want to look at any piece of evidence from this year's teams, from both teams, the strongest piece of evidence that you can look at in terms of what do I want to put my money on in terms of a team dominating or whatever edge you can give to a team, it's the fourth quarter of the Alabama game against one of the best defenses in the country. I don't care about Milroe. Milroe doesn't play defense, okay? That Alabama defense is legitimate, and they have been showing that. And for Texas to walk off the field and hold the ball for 7 minutes, and the way Jonathan Brooks ran the football and the way he has been able to not only break off the big runs and the big sexy runs and 50-yarders and 60-yarders, but his impact in the passing game, his impact in short yardage, getting dirty yardage, getting us going. I mean, last week against Kansas was one of the first times I've ever seen us come out aggressively running the football on drive one. Normally we kind of start getting a little cute, screen, and then we get into our run game. And now we felt a little bit more confident with Jonathan Brooks back there. And he's, again, third leading rusher in the country. And Estime's played an extra game because Estime played week 0. So Jonathan Brooks, I mean, yards per game might be leading the country. That's how good he's been. Now, when you juxtapose that with the OU run defense, I think OU's run defense is good. The metrics are there. I have seen gaps on film, especially when I look at Cincinnati and Iowa State. Iowa State definitely hit y'all on the outside zone, but as Jay has been, talking about recently, they were able to make their adjustments and clean some of those things up. My thing is this: they have not seen an offensive line or back or group of backs like Texas. The guy Abu Sama or whatever, the gas station owner that played for Iowa State back there running the ball, that's a different animal than Jonathan Brooks running the football. So, I'm just saying that's going to be he reminded me of the brother from Next Friday that owned the gas station that was was messing around with Willie. That's who was running the ball for Iowa State. That's who was running the ball for Iowa State. Now you got a real back you got to deal with, right? So now we get to see, people like Danny Stutzman get tested. As Woody Washington said, I'll use a player from your team. As Woody Washington said, this is our first test of the season, right? So now we get to see what they look like run defense-wise. I will say this before I hand to Nino. Y'all's red zone defense is legit, though. I will 100% give you your red zone defense. I love what y'all are doing down there, but we'll get to see. I'll pass it off.
Yeah, look, I want to address this comment from Jeff CCR. He said Brooks played a good game. He played a good Kansas game. That's about it. Okay, so let's look. He didn't start the first 2 games. He had 52 yards and 57 yards. The third game, 164 yards, averaging 7.8 yards a carry. The game against Baylor, 106 yards, averaging 6 yards a carry. And then the game against Kansas, 217 yards, averaging 10.8 yards a carry. That's just not one good game, Jeff CCR.
He's averaged over 8 yards per carry over the last 3 games.
Yeah, and for the season, he's averaging 6.93 yards per carry with 596 yards. He's just not had just one good game. That's the culmination of a lot of games. So, anyways, let's go in and if I want to talk about Brooks, man, look, I've said this previously. I think Chris has been on a couple of podcasts where I said that I thought that this Texas offense And the Texas running game, even though we lost Bijan and Rojo, and Chris got on me about saying this, I said, yes, Bijan is a transcendent running back, but a running back only touches the ball so many times a game. This offensive line is going to mature. They're going to get better this year, which they have. And I said that we were going to have this team is going to have comparable numbers this year as we did last year, even after Bijan and Rojo left. And Brooks has like 30 less yards this time this year than Bijan had last year, and he didn't even start 2 games. Jonathan Brooks is having a hell of a season. I like what Texas's offensive line is doing. Having DJ Campbell settle in at right guard has been amazing. We're seeing exactly how physical he is. He's a very nasty player. We saw that against Bama, with the vaunted play against Bama that all the Bama ex-players are tweeting about and saying that Bama has lost their will and this team is different. DJ Campbell is bringing that level of nastiness to the game. I love it. And once you see Brooks run, they're running right on that right side behind Campbell and Christian Jones. And when they bring in that second tight end in that jumbo package with Agbo, who's a 6'5", 295-pound tackle who's playing a second tight end, it gets very physical over there. So I'm enjoying what I'm seeing from that line. I think Texas has a lot on that offensive line to help move some bodies, and I'm loving what I'm seeing from Brooks. Absolutely loving it.
Okay.
Jay, Chris,
Yeah,
y'all's defensive front is much, much improved. So talk to me about how they're going to go about mitigating that rush.
I'll say this to go with that. It's a combination of the defensive front being a lot bigger. This year we have like 6 300-pound defensive linemen. Last year we had 1. That should tell you a lot about what the old regime was doing. The size, size didn't matter for some weird reason. And now it does. We brought in some bigger guys, some guys that know how to stuff the run, and our linebacker play is elite right now. Like Danny Stutzman's everywhere, and we talk about this before. I mean, he's up there in the Buckets Award conversation.
He's got to be.
The dude somehow shows up everywhere, and because of that, that's where we have been our strongest. Now, granted, we're one of 2 teams in college football that has not given up a single rushing touchdown this season. Yeah, no, we have not seen a Jonathan Brooks yet, in which Brooks, his coming out party was Alabama. That's when you start to see him as a little bit of a bell cow at the end. You're like, okay, we could probably give him a chance. And then the next game, he decided to go for a run for like 160-something yards. So it was like, okay, yeah, he's probably going to go. He took over the number 1 spot, which is tradition for Texas. And to be honest, that's why I'm not worried about him. This is Texas. If you're not preparing yourself for a run game against Texas, you're an idiot, period. Point blank, hard stop. That is who you all are. You're a team that always finds a flipping running back. You go to the store and you just walk out, and then all of a sudden you look on the ground and you find a knife. Now you got a weapon. You just always have it. That's just it. So we're going to be keeping our eyes on that. But the good thing, though, Ty, as you made mention about our defensive line, it's kind of weird because in the BV defense, our tradition is a 3-3-5. We're running a 4-man down, and we're putting all our big dudes down there, which I anticipate we doing a lot of that, which will force Brooks to make a choice on one of the outsides, which will lead him to big 250 Jaron Kanik, 250 Deshaun McCullough, or 250 Danny Stutzman. You're going to have one of those 3 dudes there. And we actually do something this year we haven't done since like 2011. We tackle. We wrap up, and we don't miss a bunch of tackles. Like, I think we've missed probably 20% of the tackles this year in comparison to what we did last year. Like last year, all we did was miss tackles. This year, we're tackling. And so that's what's intriguing me about this game is what our defense is going to actually look like going against Jonathan Brooks and Jaden Blue and whoever, and CJ Baxter. Is Baxter going to play in this game? I heard that he was a little dinged. Maybe.
No,
possibly.
he's banged up, but he's playing.
He's playing.
Okay,
He's going to
that's
play.
what I thought. That's what I figured he was banged up, but he's still going to play. My point is,
He's not 100%, but he's going.
we're going to make sure that that's not something that kills us. Now, will Texas get yards? Yes, I'm not stupid. I'm not going to actually pretend like we're going to stop them from doing anything. But we're going to fight. We're going to make Texas have to work for those yards. And as long as it's a slugfest that way, kind of like the old school games where you're really duking it out, it's going to be I expect this to be an instant classic. Let's just put it that way. Chris, I'll pass it to you now. You can go ahead with your hate.
not even gonna put any hate. I'm not even going to give them the time of day with all that bullshit that they spewing out of their mouths. Like, call a flag on that. All I gotta say is this right here. I feel comfortable with what I've seen from Bothroyd, what I've seen from Trace Ford, what I've seen guys on our exterior. I feel like that's the only place they would really attack us, because I feel like Lacey, gosh, obviously I can go Lacey, go Halton, I can go Lalu. I could go Terry. A lot of those guys inside in our interior have been disruptive. The numbers may not be there, but they've been disruptive and really have forced a lot of running backs and a lot of offensive coordinators to really shift what they're doing to try to attack the edges, and it hasn't worked. I think our team speed is way better. I think the variety of the type of athlete that you had. I was there at the spring game. Jay and Ty can tell you, I came back and I said, hey, look, it's different out there. Why am I saying that? I'm not trying to say that we're world beaters, this and that. I'm just saying that, hey, this team looks different because you have a variety of athletes and you have a bunch of different skill sets out there, real skill sets out there. I feel comfortable, man, with it. I think that Iowa State was the perfect storm for us to see a lot of the crackback stuff that they want to do with the offensive line. You guys have been doing some stuff similar to that in the run game or whatnot. Like I said, I just feel comfortable, man, because I feel like this defense, especially at front seven, and that was an area where we were weak at last year. And I'm not gonna lie, it was y'all were running over some guys last year, but I just feel like year two, knowing the defense, better athletes out there on the field, swarming to the ball, and then, man, I hate to say it, but that competitive depth, I mean, it's there. You feel comfortable 1, 2, and 3 coming out there. So all I got to say is, man, is that it's going to be a good game, man, a good day. But I think that you guys only really, and I've heard it from Texas fans say it, I think you guys really only lean on the run game if Quinn is struggling.
That's not true.
That's not true.
I heard Texas guys say it. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Are you serious?
I actually have heard a couple of Texas fans say that.
Yeah, those are very uneducated people. Okay, are you listening to fans? Are you listening to guys who actually watch the game and watch film like me and Steven and Homer?
I'm not saying. I put it to you like this. I never said any of it's true.
Yeah,
I just heard people say that. I'm just like, but when I watch it, that's not what I see. What I see,
that's not a Steve
y'all are
Sarkisian
trying to be as balanced as possible.
Steve Sarkisian is a very balanced offense, and it's always been like that. Matter of fact, I think this team, if I'm not mistaken, it's a 55-45 run to pass team this year. I mean, it's
Bama.
Yeah, that's what he was against Bama.
I'm not going to argue with y'all two about it. I know y'all watched the game. I just wanted to take a little shot.
That's a common fan trope when somebody doesn't, when somebody wants to take shots at somebody else's quarterback, they'll always kind of reference the run game all of a sudden. Oh, they like to run the ball when you're uncomfortable. They do that in the NFL, by the way. Like a lot of people do that with different quarterbacks. Like it's the same trope across the board. I have a question for our OU brother in here.
Hold on right quick, Steven. We got one thing here from Art Vasquez. I always want to get the super chats out. It says Texas wins. Are we number one? Chris looks good and burnt orange. We got to get past it. It's gonna be a great game. We'll see who wins. It's gonna be a great game.
I wouldn't give y'all the satisfaction of seeing me in burnt orange, mother. I'll just let you know.
Wow. Oh, we got another one. Texas has too many NFL players not to dominate. Okay. I mean, I think both teams have a lot of NFL talent on it. It's going to be dude.
Yeah, that's the thing. I can't knock the way Sarkisian is recruited and pretend like there's not NFL bodies out there. I would not. That would be just being delirious and being a true up hater. I'll do that tomorrow and say everybody sucks and that not a single one of your players will ever step on the football field on any other team. I'll say that tomorrow. But today I'm being real.
Hold on.
I got another comment.
Time out.
Well, hold on, man. We got to take care of people who are paying.
Nobody, this bum, he keep talking.
26, 28, 11 happened. That's what he said. Okay.
I get half forward.
Hold on. That's a legit. Right. So how come you guys are allowed to play with your food, but we get hit on so hard about Wyoming?
That's the thing about it. That's the thing.
That's what I'm confused about.
No, Steven, this is the thing. And you've heard me say this before. I ain't never said that it was a good thing that either one of us play with our food. I just point out we play with our food. That's it. That's it.
Because the narrative I got for the SMU game was, well, we were working on our run stuff that game, and we didn't even throw the ball deep. Like we were, that was and I'm fine with that. It's just like, why can't I have a narrative?
I'm just saying.
At
least when we play with our food, we get at least 30 points.
That's what happened in that Alabama-Texas game. Alabama's still playing with their. They don't know that the game is over yet. They don't know that it's done yet. That's what happened.
We got another super chat, folks. Say Chris's thought process. Hear a fact. Jay Brooks is good. Call it BS. Ignore the fact. Spew some BS. Texas leans on running back when CUNY Ewers isn't good.
Dimple wonder.
Hey, he got you right there, bro.
This is probably a 40-year-old man still trying to tell girls about his dimples that he has. Sit down somewhere and be quiet, please.
Like, what? Hey, Chris, he got you right there.
He got you on that one. He got you.
I just told you. I took a shot. I told you. I didn't hear that.
It's kind of good, actually. That was kind of good.
That was a good one.
I'm not worried about
Hey, because Jay, because he's been calling out Jonathan Brooks for a year.
Yes, he really has.
Stop playing.
Look, Brooks is becoming one of the Texas running backs that we're going to hear historically has been there. And you know, that's the thing. The tough part for Jonathan, which is what I feel bad for him for, and I said this even before the season started, is he's coming at the Bijan. So he's never going to be judged in the proper lens unless he goes out there and rushes for 2,000 yards.
Unless he does a Jamal Charles.
Right. Unless he pulls a season like that.
He has to pull Jamal Charles. Jamal Charles follows Cedric Benson.
Yep. And nobody respected him until he ran for like absurd amount of yards.
And the next year he wins the championship as a true freshman.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is that he's not going to get that respect because it happens when you have generational talent come in front of you. I mean, we'll never hear anything about it. It's funny because we won't hear anything like that about Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel goes and wins the Heisman Trophy. People still will say that he sucks. That's just kind of the narrative that you're always going to have, because when you come from a long lineage of other quarterbacks that are known for just taking over games, and you don't have to, and you just methodically win.
That's true.
You're not going to get respected. It's just, it sucks, but it's kind of just the game, man. It's what it is.
Hey, man, this is pretty good.
Well, unless if you start taking down giants, though, I think narratives can change. If you start slaying some dragons out there, narratives can change. The question I wanted to ask you guys earlier, though, a lot of OU fans have been harping on Texas has played backup quarterbacks we've faced. Cool. We've harped on strength of schedule for OU. I feel as though the difference, though, is Texas, regardless of how you feel about Jalen Milroe, going into that environment in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, is battle-tested. We have seen this team face real adversity. We've seen this team have to go through some stuff and figure some stuff out on a road, difficult environment, and have to navigate through, and ultimately they were successful, right? So my question is, from an OU perspective, why should I believe that? I personally believe that you guys are much better, much improved than last year. But why should I believe this magnificent jump from last year, considering the way y'all started last season through Nebraska? Y'all look like a juggernaut. And then the moment real competition came along, it flopped. Now, I understand y'all are better, but now we're 5 games through. Why should we ignore or disregard the strength of schedule because you guys are? Do you have questions about being battle tested?
Before we start on this, guys, I was cosplaying as a Big 12 ref, still am, but because I'm doing that, of course I'm dropping the ball. I have to step out real fast, switch laptops. This one right here is dead. I got to switch to the other laptop. But hey, being a Big 12 ref is hard. What can you do?
That is what Big 12 refs do.
This man over here flexing.
That's the Big 12 ref.
Look at him flexing with the two MacBooks.
I had to get the wife's computer, and now I have to give it back. So I'll be back.
Look at him, Steven, over there flexing with the 2 MacBooks. I see you, Ty.
He is definitely a Big 12 ref. Gosh, that is just like the worst.
Just leaves midway through.
Just midway through as he grabs a new computer. But anyway, to answer that question that you have, Stephen, it's how do I say this? When we talked about Sarkisian's first year there, and Nick, I always lean in on what you stated, and I've said this a few times. I actually said this on the stream literally right before this with one of our OU insiders from 24/7, Colin Kennedy. Y'all can go back and watch that episode if you didn't see it. But I talked about how Texas recruitment was always highly ranked, but they focused on the positions that they did need to focus on to win actual meaningful games long term. You got a whole bunch of skills guys, but you ain't got that trench. The thing about, and so when Sarkisian got in there, I was like, okay, he's gonna have a bad year, but we've seen Sarkisian as a head coach before. Running joke is 7-win Sark, but heck, he's winning 7 games. He's gonna get you there at least. The question is, can the players continue to move the needle forward to a larger 8, 9, 10, get you to a 10-win season? For Oklahoma, historically, we've seen Brent Venables go in to teams that have very spotty and bad defenses and flip them around. He started it off at Oklahoma when he got here the first time in 2000. Honestly, this year is very much reminiscent of what it looked like that year. We had a left-handed quarterback that was a transfer that no one believed in, coming off a 6-7 season, and all of a sudden he started to become a world beater. And we honestly did not have a run game that season either. Our run game actually sucked. I went and looked at the numbers. It wasn't good. I think we barely had 1,500 yards rushing, and our starting running back had 700, backup had 300. It wasn't good. But we went through and made the magic happen. Venables built the defense to do what it needs to do to help win those games. Why we won the national championship 12-3. Not saying we can do that this year, which we can. I'm not saying we are, but we can. This year, Venables got here just like he did at Clemson. In 2012, when he got there, they were a 60th ranked efficient defense. Oklahoma's was about 59 last year, even though overall stats, it sucked. He's flipping it, and it looks exactly like Clemson did in 2013 when Clemson started making runs towards national championships. That's why I believe in it. That's why I can say, go look at the man's track record. Him and Sark know each other. They've synced each other a few times, so they understand what's coming across. They know what's coming. BV know what offense is going to come from Sark because he saw it at Bama. Sark know what defense is coming from BV because they saw it at Clemson. So my point is, overall, this is why I say it's going to be an instant classic, is because BV is walking into this with the defense that looks just like what his defenses looked at Clemson. That's the reason why I'm sold on it.
You know what's so funny? Well, what honestly what's really ironic. I said on here, I remember I sent a message to Nick and Steven. I said, hey man, it's been a while. Let's do something. I think we got on this summer sometime, early summer, early spring or late spring, something like that. So we all got on, and Nick and Steven were going through our schedule, and they were laughing at the first 5 games. It was some point. You told us, Steven, y'all better win those 5 games, this and that. We did that. Same validation that y'all are won for this one win at Bama, which is a great win. I'll give you that. Same validation y'all are wanting, the same instant gratification that y'all are so desperately wanting everybody in the nation to give y'all. It's the same validation we want for beating who is on our schedule, doing exactly what you said, which is go out there, be better, show improvement, and win these 5 games. And we've done that. We've done that 5 times before the Red River game. We held up our end of the bargain. Y'all held up y'all end of the bargain finally. We're here now. It's going to be a damn good game. All this stuff about
2 5-0
all
teams.
this stuff about the scales tipping and all the rest of the stuff. This is the Red River game. We came in there with freaking Baker Mayfield, Hollywood Brown, Mark Andrews, CD Lamb, all those guys, and beat y'all by 2 points. It's the Red River rivalry, man. Things are gonna happen. Even in y'all 5-7 season, y'all still went out there and gave us a hell of a game.
Yeah,
Hold on.
It's just
You know what's funny?
I
Time
just
out.
don't get why we're
It's
here now.
funny.
I've
heard OU fans. I've heard OU fans mention that 5-7 team, that Charlie Strong team that won in 2015. It's funny that you guys keep harping on that win when you guys are. We were 1-4 coming into that game. You guys are 5-0.
I think he was talking about the 5-7 Sark season.
Yeah, he was talking about the 5-7 Sark season.
When y'all came in and y'all were up 28-7.
We didn't win that game.
No,
y'all
yeah,
were up 28-7,
game,
but you still went out there and gave us a hell of a game.
Y'all were up 28-7 to start the game.
No,
we
but
thought that
even-
game was over before.
Okay, I got you.
See what I'm saying?
But
You see what I'm saying?
why are you? I see what you're saying in terms of anything can happen in this game, but why are we referring to those bad? Why are you comparing a 5-0 OU team to bad Texas teams for your anything can happen reference. Like
It's
that
not
to
an
me
anything
signals
can happen reference.
I'll say
signals
why.
an insecurity about
No,
your
no, no, no,
5
no.
and
I'll
0.
say- I'll
It
say- I'll
signals
tell
an
you why.
insecurity
Hold on, let me
about
get this.
that.
Let me get this. If you really want to be real about it, all of what you said is bullshit anyways, because for the past 10 years, y'all have been a mockery and y'all have been terrible, and you know it. 3 coaches, and y'all finally got one that's decent, and now you want to hang on to his nutsack because he went down there and beat Bama. Who gives a shit, all right? Fact of the matter is simply this, Steven. Come Saturday, your ass gonna pay.
The gavels
You gonna
don't
pay
do
this
anything.
low.
The
Why
gavel
you so-
doesn't.
Why you so mad, Chris? Why you so mad?
I can't
He
wait.
got turned out of
Chris,
door.
why you
So-
so
I must have
mad?
said something
I tried to give
triggering.
this man a
You
pass.
did,
He
you did.
No,
tried
but
to disrespect
why you
me.
so
I think I
mad?
said something triggering.
But
If I may-
okay, so
That's
Lucas
If I may.
James has got a great
Emotional.
comment in here.
Emotional.
You twisted. You tried to
Why you
twist
so
it.
emotional?
Get out of here.
all right,
Lucas,
let me.
Lucas
Golly.
James has got a great comment in here. I'm trying to scroll up to find
trying
it.
to
Guys,
scroll up
y'all
to
are
it.
killing it in this comment section.
The comments
he
are-
says,
I know.
I love
just
it.
because you have yet to see them tested doesn't mean they're not capable of winning the game, just like Texas going into Alabama. I think that's a great comment, right? Because this is something that goes back to Jay and I. We just talked about this. We know Oklahoma is a good team, right? So, like, this dancing around,
Well
and
coached,
it's certainly not
all of
here, right? But like you look in one of the biggest cesspools there is for information on the planet, Twitter or X or whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't know. I'm just a
Blue
big 12
Mountain,
ref.
whatever they
What
wanna
do
call
I
it.
know? When I get on
No,
there,
who is this guy? Who is Quentin? Keep giving these low dollar things. Get your money up if you don't get in our comments.
oh
man.
god, Jesus.
Anyway,
Yeah,
Shout out to
anyway,
Quentin.
shout out to Quentin for the
so-
$2. Thank you for the
$2,
donation,
$1.
Quentin.
What is that?
Yeah,
so
that's a technical
real
foul.
quick on that.
Jay,
So
go
real
ahead.
quick on that.
Let
one.
Jay talk.
Steven,
Let Jay talk.
Steven, the reason why Chris is bringing up those teams is because it will take you 22 years to find another bad Oklahoma team.
That's great. That's awesome.
That's kind of the point. That was kind of the point. More so because when it comes to Red River, it don't matter. You can walk in 1-4. You can walk in 4-1.
You're absolutely right.
You can walk in 5-0. You can walk in 0-5. Somehow, something stupid gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like
You guys are
21?
allowed to reference games that happened 20 years ago. Then I don't want to hear another OU fan to tell me to stop living in the past when I mention 49-0. It goes both ways.
Hey, you can make.
I've been told all week, stop living in the past. Stop
That's
living in the
fine.
past. But then I keep hearing,
I give you that.
Well, let's think about it,
guys.
Steven. Let's think about it, Steven. Let's think about it,
hold on,
Steven.
another thing.
Who are you talking to hear that though? Because I know you ain't heard. Listen to a logical person like myself that ain't literally said.
no, I'm not
enjoy it.
talking about my friend Jay.
Hey guys, hold on.
I'm
feel
not
like you're
talking about
attacking
my
me.
articulate.
Hey, we got another chat. Okay, God, calm this down. Let's calm this down.
My boy Quentin.
Jesus.
Okay, Quentin. Now,
I
The
see
emotions
you
are
out there,
flying right
baby.
now.
now
I feel like Steven is
He
a
said, don't come for me.
Now I can hear you. Now I can hear you. That money talking a little bit.
Get
now.
your
Now I
bread
can
up,
hear
sir.
That's so messed up, Chris.
you. Now I can hear
That's
you.
so messed up. Thank you, Quentin, for the donation. Disregard.
Now I can
Oh
hear
my
you before.
god.
I'm so done with y'all. I just want y'all to know that I'm done with y'all. But that's a good point right there, Quint. I mean, that one that chat that just
Yes,
popped up about
right there.
Bama losing to Auburn. Yes.
Hey,
Hold on. Hey, we got another. Hey, we got another one. Hold on. We got another one. That's what I'm talking about. It said Steven. It said Steve. It said bro Steve and Nick got Chris to embarrass and say on the family show.
Hey,
Is what
hey,
it is.
hey,
There's
hey,
my
hey,
success.
hey, that's a technical foul down there. That's a technical foul down there. I don't want to have to tell you again. That's uncalled for, sir. Pulling out that.
I will say,
right
I
now,
will say though, in
Ty
all
is struggling. We
seriousness,
got to leave him alone. It's kind of fair. It's kind of unfair to do.
in
that to
all
Ty.
in
He's
all
already
seriousness though, it is a rivalry game, and for Texas now in terms of the mindset of the players, you cannot feel yourselves or feel overcome. You have to come into this game looking to kill, right?
Yeah.
And have that both teams, because look at Auburn, Georgia last week, right? And these things happen. And Ty brought up last week about weird things happen at Jordan Hare. Weird things do happen in the Cotton Bowl. That is right. But there's also trends that happened in the Cotton Bowl as well, especially when you look at the teams that typically come in with stronger line play, teams that typically run the football better. I think 18 out of the last 20 games have won the game. So there are certain things you can look at as well to say, hey, within this game, we can point to those elements that whatever the winning team did, those are keys to success. Those are keys to victory. We can talk about special teams in this game. Special teams have been huge in this game, whether it's big plays or, horrible things that have happened. So, no, absolutely. That comment there about rivalry games is very, very valid. And I think that's why it's going to be a very competitive game on Saturday. I do believe that.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's going to be very competitive. But like you said, though, man, special teams is what's kind of getting me about the Texas side. Texas special teams has usually been the most consistent unit over the past 2 years. Well, actually, over the past 3 years with Sark. But the last 2 weeks have been very alarming. 2 fumbles on punts, with Worthy and Whittington against Baylor. And then last week, we had the 2 missed field goals, from Bert Auburn. So those got to get cleaned up. Those are good teachable moments now after wins, but you can't bring that into the Cotton Bowl. You just can't do that. You got to be in your A game. That has to be in his A game.
Our punting game has been just about like what's Jay, like it's our punter this year. It's a
boo boo.
It's like shit. I mean, you kind of let us wonder, like, what the hell is going on? It's not that I don't think that we're gonna kick the Worthy on if we have to punt.
You guys just gonna shank it to the side?
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna get there.
Sometimes we might not make a single kick that direction.
Yeah.
That's kind of where the problem comes into play.
Oh, we got another one. Here we go, Captain 405. We got another one.
Thanks, Cap.
All right, Captain says, if you go by the first 5 games, it's hard to say Texas isn't a better team, but we also don't know just how good this OU team can be yet, and it could be a lot better than most think. And I totally agree with that. Yeah, I agree with you. Look, folks.
Captain was on the podcast with Jay yesterday, right?
Was he?
Is this who?
Yeah. Captain 405. Yes, he was. Yeah. He was on the pod on the
yes. Captain awesome. 405, great job on the podcast as well. A lot of great analytics and stats that he provided, and I believe he picked Texas to win the game, if I remember correctly.
Steven, I hate you. I hate your guts today. I hate your guts right now, Steven.
If y'all see me,
great job.
I can't.
I love listening to him.
These glasses.
This guy. See, this guy. I love listening to him.
Hey, but he don't never forget shit.
Steven forgets nothing.
Now, look, but it's a good comment, too. He said he agrees with Captain 405. OU is getting better every week and haven't got close to our potential yet. Still think we beat Texas 31-24. It's going to be a close game. I think OU has kind of met the potential on their offensive side of the ball. I think we've seen that. It's about playing a full 4 quarters, though, I think is what's the difference. I think Texas and OU have not – either team has not played a consistent 4-quarter game either way. Offense or defense. I think Texas did a pretty decent job in the second and third game, maybe for the defense side of the ball. But overall, Texas got ran on in the first 2 drives last week, and then they shut it down. But the Texas offense has been very, very lackluster in the first half. But they've come on as a second half team, which is something that we haven't seen, over the first 2 years with Sark. It's always been he would start off fast like against OU 2 years ago. And didn't adjust well, after halftime. This year, it's like he's starting off and he's trying to – Sark is like a boxer this year. He's has his first half. He's punching. He's jabbing, trying to figure out the guy. He's downloading information.
Great analogy.
And then once he downloads the information, it's like the second half he does his thing. I think OU is kind of doing the exact same thing. It's like you guys aren't starting off great in the first half. You guys are closing well in the second half. And the same thing for the defense as well. You guys' second half defense and our second half defense are outstanding.
Yeah.
You guys' second half offense and our second half offenses are outstanding. Somebody's defense is going to break on Saturday, and we're going to figure out whose defense is going to break. Somebody's defense has to break unless it's a stalemate and both defenses hold up and it's a 10-7 game. Look, folks, this could be a low-scoring game.
I think.
In which case,
you highlight JB's comment.
Oh, JB? Let me see. JB. I don't see JBs. Oh, I see it right here. Texas hasn't reached
So
their potential or played a perfect game yet.
Yeah, so just leave that up here because I want to hit on this for a second because this is. But to your boxing analogy, I think that very much applies to the third down defense. Both teams. This was mentioned on the podcast that Jay was on yesterday. They both Texas 27% on third down defense. OU I think is also 27 or no Texas 26.9% and OU is 27% third down defense.
Yeah, basically
that's
even.
Elite.
Yeah,
elite third down defense on both sides, right?
Yeah, that's the scary part, man.
And anybody
part.
JB's comment right here is for anybody that follows me on our post-game show right after the game. That's when I'm my hardest. That's when I'm my most critical. I'm emotional, may have had a few cocktails, who knows. But that's when I'm my most critical of the team before I rewatch the tape, just looking at the performance. I have yet to give Texas an A for a whole game performance. They have not played A+ football at all. Even in the Alabama game, I said it then. They left a lot of meat on the bone. There were still a lot of execution issues. They did not play their cleanest brand of football. So until there's still upside there is if I'm looking at it in terms of I have my burnt orange colored glasses on and those, because one would say also on the flip side, 5 games in, you are what you are, Steve. 5 games in, if you're having execution problems, then you're a team that has some execution issues here and there. Yeah. 5 games in, if you're a second half team, then you're a second half team.
Yeah.
But I think there is upside legitimately, especially to this offense that we have seen started to ramp, especially with the run blocking. DJ Campbell coming along, as Nino mentioned earlier.
He's coming
There's
really
upside
good
here with Texas.
All right, guys, we got another super chat from Hall of Fame College. Hey, man, shout out to Jay. He said, all love to these creators, superstars at the SEC Connect. Great show as always. OU 28-17. He said, book it. Jay.
If I could jump in here, I'll say this right here, just to kind of piggyback off of Steven's comment. For OU, 3 things that I have seen from them this year. Okay.
There's more money coming in too.
Yeah, sorry, I'm coming down.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead with your comment. We'll read the money afterwards.
All right, so simply this right here. My point being is this right here. I've seen 3 things from OU. I've seen us be mature enough to go win a game, a Cincinnati game that.
Great comment, Captain.
Nobody wanted us to win that game. You could hear it, and as much as I love Joel Klatt, you could hear it in his voice. You could hear it in Gus's voice. They thought it was going to be a better game. Kind of a high-scoring game, kind of Cincinnati's, breaking out party to the Big 12. I've seen OU get better and smarter about a lot of the gadget plays, different things like that would kill us last year. A lot of those just, obviously trick plays, but really just the gadget stuff.
Hold on, Chris. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you, but why would they think it's a introduction game to the Big 12 breakout game, and they lost against Miami, Ohio the week before?
I know that, but if you would have to watch
trying to think, that don't make sense, Chris. That don't make sense, Chris.
Can I comment on that though? Can I comment on that real quick? That's a rivalry game, so I kind of give grace in games like that.
Really, we talking about Miami? We talking about a Power 5 team facing a Group 5 team.
All I'm saying
is, wasn't they Group of 5 last year?
But this supposed to be
they were. They were.
No, but hold on.
Cincinnati.
Hold on. You're making my point.
And
here.
UCF is not Big 12 ready.
But you're making my point. You're making my point. They were Group of 5 last year. So why are we saying, Cincinnati, they were a Group of 5 team.
They're also a Group of 5 team that went to the college football playoffs.
A Group of 5 team.
Here we
they
go.
Went to the
UCF was fraudulent as well.
All I'm saying is
they went to the playoffs though.
All I'm saying,
and to be honest, the reason why they lost to Alabama in that game is because me and Ty talk about it all the time. Nick Saban's not an idiot. He's not going to throw against Sauce Gardner in the other corner they had out there. Was a Kobe Bryant. He's going to run it down their freaking throat, and that's what he did. Yeah. He wasn't dumb.
Oh yeah, that was the Brian Robinson game.
Yeah, Brian Robinson went for 200 some yards.
They
didn't have the size. They didn't have the meat.
Regardless, it was a road test. You passed that. Okay. All I'm saying is simply the same thing Steven is saying. I've seen improvement from my team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. In all of my post games, I still haven't given them an A+ or even an A. I haven't did any of that. I'm just saying that I have seen some things from this defense that is truly encouraging. Not only just the second half adjustments, but just some of the adjustments on things that we got killed on last year, all last year. And those are important things, especially when you look and you think about outside of y'all and outside of us. And let's put the Bama game in our back pocket. We're not talking about that. We're talking about Big 12 play. How many of these teams are going to actually play us straight up and not go out there trying to run some gadgety offense and trying to do something that's just out of the ordinary that we haven't seen on film, that either team has seen on film? You go back to the Iowa State game last year, they're running last week, running a completely different offense. All those teams are going to have
Sark
to do
talked
all
about
these
this,
two
and
things.
Sark did a whole session about this in his press conference. So you're spot on there. I mean, he talked about, the backup quarterback thing. I know it hasn't just been Big 12 teams, but hey, we prep all week for this, and then they're coming out
with an option
they're
quarterback.
coming out with the option quarterback and running triple option and all this other nonsense that we did.
What is going on
Jalen
here?
Daniels wasn't. What offense is this?
No, that's
right.
What I'm
saying. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Hey guys, let me get to the super chat right here. So Captain 45 again says, opponent adjusted EPA is a fan of OU's offense and defense, but Texas has strengths that will stress OU's perceived weaknesses. OU has to grow up in this game in order to win. So that's
the reason why, for me, I'm not doubting Oklahoma's chance to be able to even win this game, is because, as y'all say, as everyone says, we haven't played anybody, but at the same time, the way this team is built and the way they're playing, they just need to have a big grow up moment, and this could be the game. Like like you said, Stephen, as critical as you are about Texas, I'm just as critical about Oklahoma and a lot of stuff I talk about, and I point out what issues need to be fixed and taken care of.
Well, I think one of the other things, Jay, before you continue, because I hear you that they didn't play anybody, but also, like, how did you beat the teams you did play?
Right.
You know what I mean? And like Oklahoma, y'all are just trampling people.
Yeah, we're basically we're 5-0 against the spread, which is very hard to do. I put it like this: when Lincoln Riley was head coach here, we were 50% against the spread. You know that? The weirdest stat I ever heard in my life. For as much of an offense as he had, we were exactly 50% against the spread with him as our head coach. That was wild to me. When I think wow.
I think one thing that's interesting, though, to that point, and it's something that Ian Boyd of Inside Texas brought up that I completely agree with, and I've tracked this, especially with veer and shoot offensive teams, whether it's Tennessee, Ole Miss, just teams over the years that run this game, the good teams. One of the things is the scheme that OU runs. Because it's this, and this is what I've called, it's a juggernaut mentality. We are going to pressure defense as well as offense with the tempo, and they're literally overwhelming their opponent. So that scheme is designed to make bad teams look really bad. You're going to look terrible if you're not prepared for tempo, if you're not prepared for the deep shots after they've hit on curls and slants. It's going to get a blowout real quick. We ran veer and shoot in 2016 before people realized what we were doing, and we shocked Notre Dame with it because they didn't really. Brian Kelly at that time didn't understand what we were doing, and we were going up and down the field with a freshman Shane Buechele. The thing, though, that happens is when that offense then plays, or that whole system, when you play a good team that understands how to counterpunch and leverage momentum, that's where it starts to kind of even out. See Tennessee, Georgia last year. When Tennessee and Georgia finally met up, and how Georgia was able to use certain tactics to really slow things down, or Alabama, Ole Miss this year, and how they slowed down Jackson Dart in that scheme. Now, there's other things that go into that, and it's not like for like with what Levy is doing, but those are just some examples. So that's why it's really infringing on Dylan Gabriel to keep the chains moving. They cannot stall in this game because time of possession will become an issue, because on the counter side, Sark is 50-50 running the football. We don't mind hanging on to the football. So we're not here trying to score 1-2 plays every single time. We can, but that's not really what we're designed to do stylistically. So that's where I think there's a very interesting component dynamic here. One thing I have a question for you, Jay, in particular. one thing I've noticed on film is when OU starts to struggle a little bit run game wise, or if you're in the red area and you're looking to score, your most productive run plays have been design quarterback runs
Dylan Gabriel,
with Dylan Gabriel. You guys have had a lot of success with that, whether it's picking up a quick first down or even, he trucked the kid against Iowa State last week. And it's great and everything. But when he meets a Jalen Catalon or Jalen Ford, like I'm looking at that as a Texas fan, I'm like, I kind of want him to run. But I'm just curious in terms of, his propensity to get injured, of how you feel about having to run him so much to generate rushing offense to keep the chains moving.
Hey guys, hold on right quick. We got one more. We got 2 super chats want to get in.
All right.
So this is coming from Konana, and he said, so OU's inability to run block backed by PFF and lack of yards after contact with their running backs really get exposed against our front four. They will become more one-dimensional real quick. Texas -6.5. We got another comment too from Oklahoma fan, $5 from Rob Edison. He says Texas finna learn. PJ about to have his way with Ewers. Boomer. Okay, that's another one. I just said Boomer. Jesus Christ, I said Boomer.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. I got that recorded now. I'm about to make a ringtone out of that.
Hey, you gonna really answer him without saying the obvious?
Well, if I could, I want to hit this real fast. The Captain 405, 1st and 10 is critical for OU's offense. Captain, thank you for the donation. Jay, Chris, what have I been telling y'all since December? That first down is just so important. Whenever I had people asking me on my channel, what was up with Oklahoma's offense last year? Like, they went from feast to famine so quickly. Mm-hmm. Every time I'd watch film, I'd just come back to every time they had a negative to a no result play on first down, it was alarming. The rate at which that drive didn't end up in points or ended up in an immediate 3 and out. Whereas if they got any sort of positive gain, meaning 3+ yards on first down, my goodness gracious, their positive play drive. I mean, it was night and day. First down. I love that comment by Captain. Because I mean, it's there in the film. Like it's right there. Love that comment.
And to answer that question, and the question you have Steven on that twofold. One, Catalon is a hitter, but we also got Reggie Pearson. I don't know if you knew this, but Reggie played for Texas Tech. He put the hammer on
He's Texas a headhunter.
Players. He also leveled Dylan Gabriel in a game. So Dylan knows that y'all got a headhunter that's gonna do just the same thing that Reggie Pearson did to him as an opponent. So we're prepared for that. But
Reggie Pearson, didn't he play against us when we had a backup quarterback, though? How come we never get that pass for the Texas Tech game?
Based upon Brent Yermark just told us that the Big 12 runs through Lubbock. So it ain't us. It ain't us saying
we
that.
didn't have our quarterback in the Texas Tech game. I can say that
anyway,
too.
I know. I got it.
Go ahead, Jay. I'm just messing.
But anyway,
I'm just messing.
I know. You're right, because Brent Yermark said everything runs through Lubbock, and we're trying to figure out how the hell it's going to get to Lubbock. Because anyway, Dylan Gabriel running that RPO in a way actually kind of helps open some stuff up. Plus, at the same time, we got Jackson Arnold right behind him waiting in the wings. And so we've got a quarterback that's running offense similar to what we have, but needs to just do better with terminology. That's ready to go ahead and play in the SEC. Jay. And so we're not as concerned about it. DG's out there running around like Baker Mayfield used to, right? And that's what we're seeing out of him right now. He's building up that confidence. And so I actually like the fact that he'll go out there, get us 4 or 5 yards, get to the ground, or even, take a hitter here and make it happen. Because
I feel like there's a certain portion of your
Chris, do you need some Shady Mile to calm down, Chris?
No, be quiet.
Golly, Chris.
I got a question for Jay.
Shady
Jay,
Mile,
are you coming on the show tomorrow?
Is he possessed?
Yeah, I'm going to come on the show so I can listen to you lose your mind. Yes.
Are you coming on the show tomorrow?
Yes, I'm going on there so I can listen to you lose your mind. Yes.
No, you're not coming on the show with me and Seth. Me and Seth about to spit some real hard facts. I don't think you got that hard in you, baby. Because they sitting there taking shots.
Who took a shot?
You want the
Chris?
He just took a shot.
Who took a shot?
Why are you? Is this an OU on OU rant? I'm gonna.
No, but hold on, Chris. Where is the shot?
Red violence?
Where is the shot?
Y'all got the shot, Steven, what did you what was the whole little tongue-in-cheek thing about the backup quarterback, this and that? I'm like, man, Jay, obvious point that
It
you
was a
should have pointed
joke.
out.
It was a joke,
Yeah, he
Chris.
wants to joke
It was a
around. He
joke.
taking a shot. That's a shot. That's a shot.
Speaking
no,
of shots, brought to you by Shady Mile
we not
Bourbon,
doing
ladies and gentlemen.
We're not doing that. Jay, you gonna let him
Shady
talk about
Mile.
Dylan Gabriel like that, like his
Hey, Chris.
his quarterback
Hey,
ain't
Chris.
running out of them holes against
Don't
Kansas.
say I'm not elite
Act
at
like
ad
he gonna
promos.
be
Chris.
untouched the entire game.
Hey,
That
Chris,
boy
you
gonna
acting
get hurt.
real.
He ain't gonna get hurt out there.
You acting real sensitive and zesty right now.
I ain't acting real sensitive. I'm just saying.
You acting real
Turn
zesty.
up.
You need
Jay
some of
said
that.
nothing wrong.
You need some of that zesty sauce from Burger King. That's how you
Jay,
acting
No,
right
he
now.
needs some of this
Tomorrow.
Shady Mile.
Hey, it's
Shady
gonna be a
Mile,
different
ladies and
ball
gentlemen.
game, ball, baby boy.
I thought Chris was having a seizure.
I
I was
know,
so
I was-
concerned.
what's
I
going
was
on
sitting
here?
here just
It's
like,
just-
what are we doing, man? This dude taking shots at us, Jay. Don't let this boy sneaky with the disrespect. You got to watch Steven. Nick is blatant.
No, I was just going to ask Jay. To his point about the backup quarterback situation now with Jackson Arnold and their comfort of running Dylan because they know y'all have proper depth there. I think it's interesting because I know that there's a faction, I don't know how large this faction is in the OU fan base, that already wants to see Jackson Arnold.
I mean,
so some people aren't going to mind. I'm
like
just,
I said,
just
like I
curious.
said earlier, if Dylan Gabriel wins the Heisman, they're still going to say he sucks. That's just kind of how the game works when it comes to generational talents coming through at quarterback. But to answer your question, in which going even further back, when we talk about backup quarterbacks now, you're just asking us why we didn't have a backup quarterback when we played y'all last year, because like our coach came late and we couldn't get one really out the portal. Like the only one you guys, Dylan Gabriel, that will come. We tried to get Jackson Dart, and he was just like, "Nope, I want to go where I can start." And he went to Ole Miss to start. And didn't have
so you're
too
saying
good of a
that?
season.
So Jay, you're saying that no quarterbacks ever in the portal believed in the system?
Oh my God!
Wow, that was a shot. 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 Nick, I thought we were better than that. I thought we were cooler than that. And you're gonna take a shot that you know is wrong. But you know is wrong. It was low hanging fruit, but you know it's wrong. Because you know when you get so far in the portal, you're scraping the bottom of the barrel.
You
know that.
Come to y'all school.
Now
there was nobody there.
Nick finally took a shot and got you triggered now. Now the sensitivity and zest is in the air. See? I tried to warn you, Jay. I tried to warn you.
And no serious fan, as Eric has mentioned, and no serious fan wants to actually see Jackson Arnold play right now. Everybody wants to see Jackson Arnold because of what Caleb Williams did to y'all in the Red River in 2021.
Right.
Now, you know why fans want to see Jackson? It's the same reason that fans want to see Quinn and fans want to see Nico.
Yes. Fans want to see
Arch.
It's exact same.
Yeah, it's because it's the shiny new toy that we haven't seen play yet, and we got this 5-star sitting there, and I want to see this 5-star do some things right now. Quarterbacks are different, folks. They got to sit and season a little bit unless they are freaking amazing from day one, and those don't happen every day, folks.
There's very few generational talents. Honestly, Caleb Williams struggled in 2021. There was a lot of games where we was kind of shaking our head, but at the same time, he was just that good that he could just win the game in the end. But at the same time, I can see Jackson Arnold being another Drake May next season in the SEC. Dude is
he's good. He's going to be good.
Once he figures it out. He's going to be
amazing.
Chat is seancing Blaze Hayes right now, so we got to get to a question real quick.
Which one?
Camilo says, question for the panel, who wins if Murphy and Arnold played instead of Ewers and Gabriel?
Oh, Murphy. He's more seasoned. He's had time in the system. I mean, that's the only thing I'm just going by. He has more experience in that system. Jackson Arnold's a true freshman, right?
Fair.
I mean, I'm just going off. Look, yeah. Well,
for me, it's not even about the quarterbacks. It's still the
offensive line.
If Oklahoma had a running game that they had that rivaled their running game from last year, man, this game right here, it's already going to be great. I think it's going to be much closer than a lot of people anticipate. But that to me, if you had a true freshman quarterback without a heavy run game to rely on.
If Jackson Arnold came in, he would also be part of his own run game.
True.
He would be required to run the football a lot himself.
Right. Exactly.
All right. Hey,
That
folks, we got
guy's
another one.
wild.
We got another one.
Good
Texas
Lord.
Boy says, so OU is going to just somehow find a running game and have a QB performance he's never had facing a top 25 defense. I mean, y'all are wishing and hoping we coming
Wait,
for blood.
he didn't
OU
play
would
Florida
tap out.
State?
I mean, yeah, he played Florida State pretty damn good last year, folks.
That's the
Yeah.
thing. Is
Yeah,
I
they
get.
handled.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, and I said this earlier, and this is the reason why you can't discount us playing Florida State in a bowl game. Florida State had no opt-outs. It's all the same dudes this year. It's the same team. They brought everybody back, which
I agree with
still
that.
want to know
Yeah, I do too.
who in the hell they got in the closet holding hostage to get these kids to stay. Because
That's
I
facts.
don't want to
baby.
see them in the playoffs. I just say
But
that.
in all seriousness, I stand by the point I made earlier. People can say whatever they want about bowl games outside of the playoffs. Bowl games are whatever the coaches want to make it and whatever kids are staying in and whatever intentions there are going into next season.
Next season's
And I
kids.
feel as though the 4 teams that did that, Texas and Washington, Florida State and OU, it's not a coincidence that those teams are looking the way they're looking this year.
Fair.
Because of the way that they handled their bowl season, their bowl prep, and the people that were on the field, during those games.
Look at this. Sooner in Texas, Nino's doing drugs. Arnold kicks Murphy every day of the week. I didn't say the upside. I said it right now. You're talking about a kid who basically came from prom 4 or 5 months ago, and the guy's been in a program now for 2.5 years.
2.5 years, yeah.
So, I'm not saying he might not have the higher upside. I'm just talking about right now.
Is
that.
Murphy healthy? He's healthy now, right?
Yeah, he's healthy now.
I know he's been
healthy.
battling it for like the last 2 years.
Yeah,
That's
he had the
thing that
foot
sucks.
injury and the wrist, but yeah, he's healthy.
Mammoth human being. I don't
Here's
wanna see
one
him
thing
on
I
the
will
field.
say, though.
Can he transfer?
Here's one thing I'll say honestly, though, as a Texas fan, and this is why I will show some transparency. I am frustrated that we didn't turn up more against some of those other teams
To get Murphy
because
snaps.
of this stat right here.
Yep.
We didn't get Murphy snaps. So he hasn't had a whole lot of work the way Jackson Arnold's gotten work, right? In terms of,
that's the difference, yeah.
Now he has been in the system longer, yes. And he's been with Sark now, well enough to where we should be full menu if he does have to play. But as we've seen in these games, I remember back in the day, I think Jason White got hurt or on OU or something. And anything can happen, man, where Quinn, it's one play away. We had that happen last year with Alabama, and Hudson Card had to come in there, right? So Malik Murphy has to be ready to play. I wish we would have gotten him more work. Unfortunately, I blame special teams a part of that as well.
Exactly.
Fumbling punts, when the second team offense is supposed to go out there and get a drive and we fumble a punt and do some dumb stuff and we lose plays. The Wyoming game, we ran 52 plays. The following week against Baylor, we ran 59 plays.
And then we ran
So it
85
wasn't really
the next
until and we ran 86 plays against Kansas. That's where we really got work. So we got to run more plays. That's another thing too.
Hey guys, we got a question here for the OU guys. Hey, Chris and Jay, $5 chat here from Dipple Wonder. He says, OU boys in the show, question for you. I've seen Levy just toss J.A. into run a bulldozer, play out, out of nowhere. What do y'all think he is doing that for?
I think he's building on it. I mean, hell, when you saw that trick play the other day, I was like, I think that there's some concepts, there's a method to his madness, in my opinion, sometimes with Levy, because you see things in one game that just make you want to pull your hair out, make you want to scream at the TV. And then the next game, you're like, oh, wait a minute, that's the same formation that he was running last week. And you just see him consistently build off of that. And you see him turn some of those plays into what I always call, I coin it as just cash plays. So I think that's what he's doing. He's building off of that, giving teams some looks, putting stuff on film, something else that you have to account for when he's out there, whether he's lined up at wide receiver or he's lined up in that whole bulldozer package. So I think it's something just to definitely keep note of. I mean, it's kind of like
great question, Defo Wonder. Great question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna say on that to even go with what Chris is saying. It appears to me that what he's doing with Jackson Arnold is he's just getting him out there and getting him used to quote unquote getting hit, because Jackson Arnold's going to be a scrambling quarterback. He's going to be a dual threat. He's going to be one of those that's going to run. He ran a ton at Denton Geyer in Texas.
He's going to be
scary. One of those quarterbacks that's going to go. So if you put him at the college level, he probably going to need to get used to making those cuts, finding those holes, and also taking a hit or two. You quote unquote can afford it this year because he's not starting. You're not going to have him play. He's going against second and third stringers anyway because everybody else is pulling their starters out anyway. You don't want him to get hurt, but at the same time, this is an opportunity for him to kind of just, test out those waters. He's gotten some throws in, but at the same time, you don't want too much film of Jackson Arnold out there right now because if you do need to play him in a big game, you kind of want people to be kind of curious about what he's really going to be able to do. I think that's what he's doing. It's the only thing that makes sense in my mind. Now, granted, I'm not in the office. I don't know what the hell he's thinking. I'm not up there in the booth with him, but at the same time, it just makes sense to where you don't want to put too much film out there. But like you guys said, you would have loved to blow out some of these teams so Murphy as well as Arch could have just got some run. Just got a few snaps, get a few throws in, get them used to being in the environment of playing in actual games. You want that, and we've seen that with Jackson. So he's also probably he's our most athletic quarterback right now. So that's also probably why they're doing it too. That's a good question.
Hey Nino, before we, because I got to go here in a little bit.
I got to hit out the minute.
Same, yeah. We've been here for 2 hours, guys.
Yeah. But I do want to. I think Sam Shepard's question is really fun. Shout out to Quentin.
Quentin, you a fool. He said your collar looked drunk.
He been on your ass, Chris.
Sam
How much
did you give that last comment?
No.
CJ Vogel said that same thing, and we pointed out that was a lie.
Wait, what?
No, not that one. Not
Which
that
one?
Nino. It's before.
He got a couple of them.
Hold
on.
It's
what are you talking about, Jay?
It was a question.
Vogel had
he talked about in SMU's offense is rated higher than I think it's like 41 or whatever.
Yeah.
Sam Shepard, name one player, not a big time player, that has a great on offense and defense for each team, each person.
I'm pulling up now.
It was before Quentin's super chat.
We got so many freaking.
Y'all be going off in the chat, so I appreciate y'all's camaraderie.
That's a really good question.
While y'all up in people's channels, right?
And subscribe to everybody's channel. Yeah, I don't care if you're an OU fan and you want to subscribe to
put out some good content and have fun.
I don't see it. You said it's Sam Shepard's?
Yeah, Sam Shepard. It was a few comments before. I'm sorry. It was a few comments before Dimple Wonder's super chat where he talked about the Belldozer.
There you go.
This is a great question, I think all five of us should answer. So I'll go first because I've been thinking about it while he asked it. I'll go offense, defense, and then I'll pass to Nino, and we'll go from there. Offensively for us, I would say Jordan Whittington. Reason being, Sark has been messing with these linebackers all season long in the intermediate. A lot of people make a big hubbubaloo about Texas's deep ball. A lot of Texas fans get frustrated about how many bubble screens and maybe we run too many. I think this is something, masterclass, and where Quinn Ewers operates his best is that 10 to 20 yard area, that intermediate area where he's layering the football all over the place, regardless of coverage. And I think Jordan Whittington, who has played pretty well in this game the last 2 years, I know he got hurt in 2021, but he's been a guy that really steps up in games like this. And I think he's a guy that gets matched up, takes advantage of whether it's maybe McCullough flexing out there or Key Lawrence or whoever, and able to take advantage running into coverage. Defensively, and this is going to piss some people off, but I don't give a damn. Michael Taft. Michael Taft is going to be a player that we're going to leave this game as Texas fans, and we're going to be like, I understand now why the coaches play him so much. I'm waiting for the smoke in the comments. I'm going to leave it at that. Nino, go ahead.
Okay. My breakout player for offense, I'm going to say Jonte Cook. We've seen Sark has been rolling him into the offense over the past few weeks, and he's been a deep threat for this offense. Last week he caught a 23-yard pass, and the week before that a 51-yard pass. And Sark is slowly starting to roll him into to his rotation. Sark doesn't like to rotate guys in the wide receiver room. He likes to keep his 3 or 4 guys that he plays and plays them all game. He doesn't substitute. that the one person he does substitute is Jonte Cook. He does come in. So I think Jonte is going to have a package or two that's going to be something special for this game. He's a Texas kid. He gets what this rivalry means. And so, yeah, I got a feeling he's going to do some great things here. The person on defense, not a big-time player. This is a good question. I was thinking about this. Bender.
I got another one for you, Nino.
Damn it! That's why I wanted to go before you.
Yeah,
Nino.
David Bender.
Yep.
I think David Bender.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Man, he's flashed so much this game. I mean, you know, he's flashed so much this year. He's sat and he's waited his time a lot like Jonathan Brooks has, and he sat behind some guys, you know, like that have gone to the league and, you know, Demo, and he's waited his turn. He never transferred out. And he's came out and he's played some great ball here this year too as well. And he's very quick. He has really good acceleration. So I think those two are going to be my two guys here for the Texas Longhorns.
I guess I'll go, and I'll kind of, once again, play mediator. So I'll give you 4. 2 from Texas, 2 from Oklahoma. Unfortunately, I'm not going to change who I picked defensively. I completely agree, Nick. Benda's playing really good this year. He's a lot of fun to watch. Y'all's linebacking core, both respective linebacking cores, are playing really good. Ton of fun to watch. So I'm going there, and I think you both have great answers in terms of offense, whether we're talking Cook or Whittington. I think you split the difference. I came into the year super high on Cook. I think, you know, one of my quote-unquote hot takes for Texas this year is that we would exit the year, and Cook may be one of the best offensive players y'all have. So I'm going to go with Cook here. And I say that because I got to watch the young man play several times in high school during 7-on-7s. I've been a big fan of his game. For Oklahoma, I'm going to go Gentry Williams at cornerback. Guys, Gentry Williams is playing really well. He's playing really well. I think the thing that stands out to me about Gentry is the willingness to be a participant in run stopping. I mean, he's coming up with violent intent. It doesn't matter whether he's worried about injury or he's coming up to make the tackle. I think you've got to be really impressed with where he is, especially with the Oklahoma secondary really showing so much growth from last year into this year. So Gentry Williams for the defensive side. Oklahoma offensively. This is where it gets super interesting to me, because I think for Oklahoma's offense, you have a lot of big name guys, but I'm going to give you 2. Nick Anderson or Jaden Gibson, one of those young wide receivers. They seem to alternate which guy is going to have that huge game, right? Like Gibson goes off, Anderson has a great game, or then the next week Anderson goes off, Gibson's right behind him. So those are the guys I think y'all need to be keyed in on. I think there's going to be a lot of players making names for themselves during this game.
I'll go ahead and go. One on offense and one on defense that is going to probably shine. Honestly, I think defensively, I'm going to go with, because Gentry Williams was my name that I was going to pick, but we're going to go from that. I'm going to say Deshaun McCullough. And I'm going to say Deshaun McCullough because I think he's the one that's going to get tested the most by y'all. Like I mentioned earlier, 6'5", 250, wingspan out of this world, and he can jump. He's one of those players, he's got a really good instinct, and the big thing is that even if you try to beat him on some plays, your biggest problem is not really that he's going to be chasing after somebody. It's getting it past his limbs. And I think he's going to really put those to work and really create coverage problems, especially if we run some zone on some of the passes Quinn's going to do as our defensive line tries to get pressure on him, which we've done a good job of getting pressure, but every team we played have gotten rid of the ball at NFL speeds. They've been dumping that thing fast. Offensively, now this one's going to be the struggle for me, but and I don't know if we'll find it, but we may actually get lucky enough that we don't get a whole bunch of holding calls. But I think Tyree Walker may actually show up in this game. He may actually get some pretty solid yards on the ground if his 20-yard runs aren't called back for holding, which I think he's had 4 this season. I think I'm about right. I got to go back and verify. But when he's dipped, they call it back and tell him to take his butt back home. And so I don't think we're going to get lucky enough that the Big 12 refs are going to just screw us over that bad. They'll probably just let us rip each other's helmets off and not actually call anything. So as long as y'all don't get a whole bunch of face masks on them, pulls, I think he'll be the one that will kind of shock us. Now, I don't see him getting 100 yards on this Texas defensive line, but I can totally see Texas focusing on the defense and kind of disregarding the run because it hasn't been potent this year. And that's where he has an opportunity to get 50 to 60 yards to make PK change his mind and do his actual adjustments too.
All right, so I'll jump in here and I'll say all great picks by everybody on here. I'm going to stick defensively. I'm going to stick with it. Ty, I thought that was a good point you made, but for me, Gentry Williams, man, the speed, but we've had speedy DBs in that backfield, but the fact that you have a guy who is now Jay, but way before I met you, I know Seth and I, when we was doing the show back in the day, we used to always talk about Trey Brown, and we say Trey Brown was like at a crossroads. He said, okay, I got speed on this side. I got skill and technique on this side. I think I'm going to choose the speed. Well, you got Gentry coming in here and saying that, hey, I have the speed, but I really want to be good. I really want to be a really good DB. And for me, that's a guy that I could see being matched up with Worthy, or Mitchell, whichever one is hot, simply because I like Woody. I love Woody. Everybody knows that. But definitely, I mean, Gentry is slowly but surely becoming a star, in my opinion. I also, be honest with you, I know we said not big time player or whatever the case may be. Peyton Bowen, simply because of the different things that he could do out there on the field. He's making noise on, obviously, getting defensive snaps, but special teams, he's made 2 key blocks. He could show up on the stat sheet in a big way. And as versatile as he is, you might see him on the field an awful lot this game. Offensively, Tawee Walker, I thought that was a great point. He's a guy that I'm not saying, hey, I need you to go out there and get me 160 yards running. He's a guy that I'm saying, hey, I need you to keep the chains moving. I need you on these short yarded plays. I need you to keep us in 3rd and 4 instead of being in 3rd and 8. And 3rd and 12, different things like that. But for me, I would say, and it's a name that you heard from us an awful lot, but I would say Andrell Anthony. Last year, a lot of people complained, and you heard that from actual Big 12 coaches.
He's a leading receiver. How's he not a big-time player?
I'm not saying that he's not a big-time player, but you won't let me finish my point. My point is simply this right here, is that when it comes to Andrell,
it's like me saying Xavier Worthy.
Okay.
All right. You just don't get it, do you? Andrell was a big-time player in Michigan. Which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
That
no,
we both
Jay,
got former Michigan players
Jay,
as our
it's
top
fine.
receivers. But yeah.
This dude's been spewing his ignorant stuff all week anyways. But anyways, like I was saying, simply this, with Andrell Anthony. Reason why I'm saying that is because you heard it all last year. A lot of people saying you didn't have a wide receiver for OU that you had a game plan for, and all the rest of this.
Yeah, Marvin Mims. This.
Jay, you see why I try to be civil, I try to be cool, but then we got this dude.
Who questioned Marvin Mims last year?
I'm saying? All I'm
this guy's
saying
cooking in the NFL. What are we talking about?
Jay, okay. All right. I will let you.
I'm ready. I'm ready to bounce. I'll see you tomorrow.
I gave up 45 minutes ago.
Ty, go ahead and close us out. You're the moderator.
You're the moderator. It's all on you tonight.
It's on you tonight, Ty. I don't even know who the hell you named on defense. I was like, this got to be a bug because nobody's heard of this dude.
I don't know anybody on your defense. I don't watch no I don't watch no bum ass OU. Come on, man.
I'm just saying, man. Tomorrow, both of y'all asses, y'all done. And I hope Quentin and Dimple Wonder and all these dudes are in the chat. Trust me. I got Seth. Hopefully I got Jay. We about to go ham on y'all, and we gonna win this.
I just can't believe you tried to sing this "woe is me" narrative about we didn't have nobody respect our receivers last year. Yeah, Marvin Mims. What are we doing?
I'm telling you, I'm just regurgitating what people
are
saying.
What time is it tomorrow? What time is it tomorrow?
Your time is it, man?
7 p.m. on Fanatic Perspective. The Texas OU Trash Talk special. This is allegedly Seth is going to show up. I just want to know. Let's take odds now. What are the chances that Seth shows up tomorrow?
Seth just tweeted out about softball, so I think he's done.
It's on Fanatic Perspective tomorrow. The link is coming.
Hey, like The Rock said when they asked him where Stone Cold was at. Look, y'all Seth ain't hard to find. He gonna be there tomorrow. All right, we gonna be there.
Hey, Steven.
We coming.
This man
Fourth
said
Down
that nobody
Podcast will be
respected
in
the
that
second
thing
round
tomorrow.
draft pick wide receiver.
Okay. All right. Jay, you see what I'm talking about? You see what I'm talking about now? I tried to be civil, make a good point. Now they want. You see what I'm saying?
We'll talk about it tomorrow night, guys. Ty,
Boy.
Blaze Hayes, close us out. Also, Captain 405 said, send a Shady Mile bourbon. Get him some of that. Get him a bottle of that.
Yes, guys. As we're all closing out, before we get out of here, been a little shot sent tonight, but the best way to end any great evening such as this is with a shot of Shady Mile bourbon. Friend of the channel. No, but in all seriousness, guys, this has been a great night.
Heat for
This
Red
is gonna be
sponsorship
a yeah.
Nick, you coming to the
you know
game?
what it is.
Nah, man. I'm in Alabama. I can't come. I got stuff in the military.
Okay.
He has to
What you
pretend
mean,
to be an
okay?
adult.
Hey, man,
He's
I gotta
doing
keep
adult
this damn
crap.
country safe. Okay, my ass.
Yeah,
You
okay.
better be
Mike, holler
lucky.
at
I'm
me.
doing what I can do. If I don't do what I
Shut
do, you
your
can't
ass
even do your
up,
job.
boy. You in simulations, boy. You ain't. Hey, come on.
Hey,
man.
I think I'm the only person here that's been to Afghanistan and Iraq and had my ass shot at a few times. I think I'm the only one that can say that in the chat. So, hey, calm that down.
You're
buddy.
one of few. It's
Calm
very
that down,
true.
You're
buddy.
one of the few.
I'm the only one in this 5 here. Calm that down, buddy. You better be lucky I'm getting shot at it. If I wasn't, your ass would be working. So, hey, there it is. We done?
Tragic.
We're done.
That's
All right.
Peace out. We're out.
We out,
Holla.
dude. See you tomorrow.